This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another sunrise safari here in Djuma, South Africa, where we've managed to find ourselves a very hungry herd of elephants in the early morning. They are beautiful, emerging out of the thickets just moments before, in the darkness, still before the sun rising. Good morning, everybody. My name is Steve, joined by BK on camera, and how marvelous it is to be out in the African wilderness. Beautiful mornings. The sky is opening up. The clouds are pulling across the sky with enormous rapidity. I don't know what's going on. Maybe there's a storm building up in the distance, but welcome on board. Don't forget we are live and interactive. We'd love to hear from you. Hashtag SafariLive, or throw your questions in on the YouTube chat stream. It's a beautiful family of elephants here. They've been giving us the eye, trying to figure out if they want to cross in front of us or not. And here they are. Off they go. They've had enough of my voice. Off they crossed the road in the beautiful, beautiful light this morning. A very small little youngster there. Probably two sisters, in fact, the two adults with their consecutive offspring. Very protective mothers, elephants. And off the babies go, one by one. Isn't that gorgeous? I love watching elephants walking away. Almost that sort of characteristic African sort of feeling of a big elephant behind with the baby as it disappears into the thickets. Well, we are going to go around and check the boundaries all the way around. Taylor is going to be on walk with us shortly. She's quite certain that maybe something's come in from the south. There was all sorts of things happening last night. Lions in the west, wild dogs in the south, leopards in the south. So let's go see if anything's crossed in, and then her and the bushwalk team can go and follow up. So we're not going to follow these ellies. If they have gone down this road over here, I'm not going to follow them down. I'd rather just let them go. And we'll just go back to the road we were just about to go onto. I was just double checking. Nothing's come in along this power line road. Lee, I'm not sure exactly the number at the moment, but I think it's somewhere in the range of 17 to 18,000 elephants. I'm not sure what the most recent census has uncovered, but it's somewhere around there. Might even be more. They used to maintain the population of elephants in the Kruger at 7,000, and they were just constantly growing. That sort of surge phase with a number of individuals ready for mating. That was back in the 90s when culling was still a management tool with regards to elephants, but they've moved away from that completely, and now they just try and manage the movement of elephants by changing the water holes, opening and closing them, trying to force a bit of stress on the population rather, meaning that female has to walk much further to get water and stuff for her babies, which means that there's a little bit more sort of natural digression in the population, because well, there's always been so much water that you don't naturally get any die-off in the population. But in open systems like Botswana and Namibia, those elephants, they are controlled by drought. Water is a huge factor in the life of an elephant. Okay, so we're just going to check this road down to sort of our southwestern boundary and then loop around and see what might have come in. Hello, Sol. You want to know why it's called the bush? Well, it's not necessarily this park. What we have here, well, there's more elephants up ahead. What we have here, and if BK can shine around, is you'll notice there's lots of bushes. And you might not need the IR light though, BK. It takes a bit of color out. But this is what we call when we say we're going to the bush. And you know, when we go to that place with sand and those waves, we go to the beach. That is exactly what it is to us in South Africa. This is the bush, the wilderness, the veld. The bush veld is actually the longer name for it. Some more ellies up on the right I'm going to pull up. So when we ever say we go into the bush, it's just the shortened version of the bush veld The veld is a rangeland in America, I think. Ooh, hello. Hello, little one. There's elephants all over here. This is awesome. So we are in the bushveld, the African bushveld. And just to make it nice and easy, we just call it the bush. It is a very South African term. Going to the bush for this holiday, or I'm going to the beach, or I'm going to the Berg, which is the Drakensberg. So we like to keep it quite simple with very short B words. Bush, beach, and Berg. Very easy to understand. No doubt when Taylor comes out and walks, she'll be able to give you a few more of our very common South African sort of terms. And well, the elephants love the bush. Without the bush, well, we don't know what they would do. They are the creators of open space and habitat in the bushveld. Okay, well, we're going to try to get another good view of these elephants that are feeding in the bushes. And while we do that, we're also going to see what tracks have maybe come in from the south and the west. In the meantime, let's go up to the Masai Mara with Isaac and say good morning.
A very good morning, everybody watching me. Welcome to the beautiful Masai Mara. And this is SafariLive. We are in the middle of nowhere already, and it's almost 6:35 in the morning, East African time. And I'm here in the middle of very thick grass and bush. And a very good morning. My name is Isaac, and on camera we have Manu. Our mission this morning is to look for the sausage tree pride. We left them hunting in the dark, in the long grass. So it's like looking for a needle in the haystack. But we are determined to try and find them, at least see what they did, if they did. And if not, we're going to head back towards where we saw the cubs. And hopefully we'll find them, and then we can continue on with our soap opera and tell you exactly what's happening. It is very beautiful over here, and all is well. Nice and cool. I haven't seen much on my way here. There was a lone hyena, and that's all I've seen. The temperature is around 18 degrees Celsius over here at the moment. Quite cool, very chilled out. Look at that. This is a totally different area. I haven't been here for quite a while, but I'm taking a shortcut towards where we left the sausages. In case you're joining us for the first time and wondering what I'm talking about, we have a special pride of lions called the sausage tree pride, and there are 5, very strong females. It's a mother and her 4 daughters, and they were hunting in the direction that you're facing. There's a bit of mist, as you can tell. Yes, and we are going to look for them because they were really going for something. They didn't get something by the time we left them around 9:30 at night. So it is time to go and see what happened. Over there we have beautiful crowned cranes flying. Look at that. Thank you, Manu. I don't know how you spotted those. Yeah, that's why you have sometimes to have a good set of eyes. Zachary, thank you for your question and good morning. What is the rarest animal to spot on a drive? I must say, leopard, cheetah are the 2 most rarest, although it depends on what you call rare on your side. But we do have some very rare animals. We do have, rhino, we do have caracal, we do have serval, we do have cheetah, leopard, porcupine, civet. So it depends on which one you call rare. But over here, I would say cheetahs and leopards give me a headache sometimes. I go for weeks without seeing them. I see their kills. People tell me they've seen them. But because of the long grass and the good camouflage, sometimes it is very difficult, to see them. You can tell, the grass is almost, 4 feet high. So sometimes it's really hard. On type of these bushes, they could be hiding in them. And when they see you, some of them are not used to vehicles, so they will dash in there and make it very difficult for me to spot. So Zachary, it depends on what, what is rare for you? What you think, is rare? For me, I would say those two give me a headache because they are very small and they can go under. I'm heading that direction towards the escarpment. You see that escarpment? It's a long way. And sit back. I hope, I don't know what time it is where you are, but over here, I will tell you to have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and sit back and let me take you on a game drive unless you're going to work. Okay, let's see what we can find. It's a beautiful morning, long grass. This truck hasn't been used for quite a while. Christine, do the vultures give me an idea where the lions are? Of course, if they've made a kill, I will see them from a distance and I will always investigate if what is there and why the vultures are there, if they are there. So yes, thank you, Christine. They do give me a clue sometimes if, the lions have made a kill. There are many signs that we look for as guides out here. We can hear helmeted green fowl going tick, 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 tick. And then there's a cat there. You can hear the barefaced go away bird, the self-proclaimed, security bird of the plains going, go away, go away. And that is telling everybody that, go away, there's a lion. And you might hear the mongoose go, quack, 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 quack. And you might hear the jackal go, quack, quack. And you might see the vultures. So there are many things to look for. You have to know, what to listen for. And even the impalas, the elephants, they have sounds that they make that we can recognize that there is a threat. And usually, most guides will go and investigate. And sometimes you are very surprised to find something that you didn't expect. Yes, this is a place where you have to drive really slowly and look every now and then. You have to look at the road because you don't know if you don't know if an advac dug a hole in the road last night. Okay, while I maneuver this area, let me take you back to Steve, who still got some elephants.
Welcome back to South Africa, everybody, and we're with a very cool little herd of elephants that are spread out on the plains. Here is a youngster here, probably, how old? I'm trying to figure out how old he is, probably 7 or 8 years old. He's following the herd closely. I'm just going to move up a little bit so we can get to see the little youngster that's up ahead here. I think it's part of that breeding herd, that small family that I spent a lot of time with the other afternoon following. Here it is, this little cuteness, little cuteness overload. It's really trying to work that trunk. Mum, is this how it works? Oh, they are so precious, so precious. It knows it's got to get those leaves into its mouth, but it's not quite sure how. Watch out, tree. You've got an elephant there trying to break you down. They are very, very special. Seeing young elephants in the early stages of their life trying to figure out that what must obviously be a very complicated device, the trunk. You can swing it back and forward, but it's not very coordinated. Let's see what he's going to pick up now. Also, trying to work those 4 legs at the same time is also something that takes a little bit of practice. Everyone is saying so cute. Well, everybody, we love little elephants. What is it about baby animals that gets us all so excited? And to be able to be this close to a breeding herd and have the female, the adult, which is that one on the left, being so relaxed is very, very special. The last one we started the show with, that those 2 adults weren't very, very relaxed, so we just sat very quietly and allowed them to do their thing. But this female is completely chilled with us. You can see some impala photobombing in the background, of course. Her little youngster has now decided to lodge himself. Have a look at that. He's lodged inside the bush. He's gotten stuck. You silly thing. This is going to be funny if he is in fact stuck. If Mum will come and help him get out. Yep. Hello. Oh, he's out. He's managed to get out. Almost. Scratching his back leg with his foot. Oh, he's having a scratch on the tree, everybody. That's what he wanted to do. Uh-oh, it's time to play with your older brother or sister. They are so playful at this age. They've got nothing to do but walk around and just be naughty, young elephants. They get quite a lot of milk from mum, so when that happens, I'm going to move over. I'm just going to move up a bit. Elizabeth, I'm not sure actually how many matings a female elephant has to go through for pregnancy. I mean, it's not like leopard or anything. I think it's possibly, if she's in estrus, it happens pretty quickly. But I'm not 100% sure. I'm really not 100% sure about how many mating sessions it takes. But you don't see elephants mating that often. So it's possibly just a once-off thing that works quite well. When she's in estrus, the male will mount her and things will just sort of gel first time around. But then that I'm not 100% certain. One thing for sure is that this is the time of year when most of the females are coming into estrus. Most of them want to mate at around this time of year, and it's when you find most of the big male elephants in must during sort of the February, March, April time, because that's where most of the females are in estrus and ready for mating. Because 22-month gestation period, the females want to be dropping their calves sort of in the early summer so that they've got access to all of the vegetation that you see around. Lots of nutrient-rich grasses and forbs, lots of trees with their fruits, because they want to be able to provide very good lactation for their youngsters. So you find lots of young elephants around this time of year, sort of 2 to 3 months. BK, we've just got a bird landed over here. Oh, very good. You see the long, straight stem of the tree? Just to the top. Gary, I'd say that elephant's only a few months old, maybe 4 months, 3-4 months, not even, somewhere around there. But we've got a bird that just landed. I wonder if everybody, this just straight up this tree, BK, at the 12 o'clock of the tree. Yes, go to the 12 o'clock. No, the one on the right. Yes, there we go, straight up. Straight up, and then I punch in there. A little bit to the left, a little bit down. There we go, up top of the screen at the moment. He's sitting there, right. We've got him in the top right of the picture. There we go, there's a beautiful raptor. Everybody, let's see who's awake this morning. Quickly, who's going to be the first one to identify this raptor? Hashtag SafariLive. Orange legs, orange beak, dark eye, and a little bit of white on the rump, but that's not important right now. Have a look at the throat. If you all saw it a moment ago, it's very characteristic. It's one of the grey accipiters. Very easy to identify, probably the easiest. Oops, and it's gone. I wonder if you all managed to get that. If you didn't, no problem, I'll show you again. Let's see how many people managed to get that, and then we'll move up and have a look at these elephants over here. Let's have a look at these youngsters again. Michelle, no, it's not a snake eagle. The snake eagles here are either brown or they are white with sort of darkness to them. They're not grey. Our snake eagles aren't grey. It is a goshawk or sparrowhawk type of bird, that one, although its name does not have either of those in the name, which is quite confusing. Jamie, 100% correct. 100% correct. Jamie is wide awake this morning and she got it right. Anybody else? See if you can get it right. You've got another couple of moments before I do the big reveal. Impalas are just moving out of the way. They don't want to get bombarded by these ellies. They always make way for the biggest land mammal. I'll play the call for you. For those of you who didn't see it, you might know this call. Have a listen. Beautiful, beautiful bird call. And before we run away, let me show you the beautiful bird that we have here. And it was, in fact, as Jamie said, the lizard buzzard, characteristically seen with the stripe on the chin. Very easy to see that stripe on the chin. Don't ever confuse yourself. That is the easiest way. There you can see it nice and easily. On the throat, the lizard buzzard. Well done, Jamie. And those of you who also got it right, if you didn't, don't worry. We are always learning out here. And while we move on, see if we can get another view of these lilies, let's go back up to the Mara with Isaac and a beautiful sunrise.
Hello, here we are, and it is sunrise. Yes, it's the beginning of another new day. Thank you for joining me, and you are right on cue. It is a beautiful morning, and there is evidence that daylight is official over here in the beautiful Mara Plains. And you can see the sun is rising. That is east, I think. It never changes. Beautiful, look at that. Well, it does look like it's coming on slow-mo. Jocelyn, good morning. Do I ever scared being out here alone? No. And the reason is I'm much more comfortable here than being in the city. It's like being in your neighborhood. It's like crossing the road in your neighborhood. It's like going to the supermarket or the bank or the library or to the communal swimming pool. You know where you want to go and you're comfortable, you know what to do and not do, and you're okay. If you were to put Isaac in the middle of a street or a town, I'd be freaking out. I'm not used to being around too many people. I'm used to being around too many animals and in the middle of nowhere most of the time. So, Jocelyn, that's my answer to you. Beautiful morning. Look at that. Looks like it's glowing, like it's burning. Unbelievable. Yes. And those are beautiful Balanite aegyptica trees. Very common in the Masai Mara. Yeah, next time I'll try and put a leopard on that tree there so you can see the silhouette. But yeah, I didn't make enough arrangements, but I think this is enough for today. Beautiful. This is what you see in some beautiful mornings here in the Masai Mara. It's not always the same. It can be cloudy. Sometimes it's like this, but today it's super beautiful. What else can I say but just to be very thankful to see another sunrise. I hope, yes, I just, say it's a beautiful morning, and as I continue to go and find you something else, let me take you to Tyler, who's on a bushwalk this morning.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Sunrise Safari, which we don't have in South Africa just yet. I feel like that's a common thread at this time of the year. But we're out on bushwalk and we've got all sorts of wonderful animals. We're probably not going to need to move off of quarantine, which are the plains just behind camp. We've got impala, we've got elephants, we've got a wildebeest, and even a scrub hare, which I'll show you in a minute. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me today is Benzo. And then, of course, Rexon is back from a couple of days of leave, and he's fresh and ready to track all sorts of wonderful things. But remember to hashtag SafariLive if you'd like to ask us questions. You can do that on Twitter, and then you can also talk to us via the YouTube chat. Look at that. Just lurking in the grass over there. I don't know if scrub hares lurk, but this one actually charged Rexon as we were standing here talking about what we're going to talk about this morning, and that scrub hare came darting down the road, and Rexon had to remind it that we were standing here. So off it went, and I'm sure it'll find a nice cozy shady spot underneath those trees to rest for the most of the day, because remember, hares don't burrow into the ground like rabbits. Okay, well, we had this whole plan. We were maybe going to go check if the nkahumas have crossed over, or perhaps a leopard or something has been walking around. No, I think we're probably going to spend most of the morning up over here. Now, the elephant in the distance, I'm pretty sure he can hear us. We're not really trying to hide away from him at the moment because he surprised us. He's very far away. We've got nothing to worry about. And I also don't think he really cares so much, as long as he can get his marulas. And you all know how many marula trees are out here in the open, and that's what he's doing right now. He's using his long trunk to feel for them in the grass. Please don't eat them all. I haven't had a marula yet. I lie. I had one yesterday. It was terrible. So I need to eat some marulas. I'm going to eat my weight in marulas this morning. I'm very excited about this. I wish you could all taste them. They're very delicious. So we're going to see what's happening. The wind... No. Goodness. You know it's windy when I can pick up the pretty coarse sand and it still blows. So that's quite nice. We've kind of got the wind in our favor this morning. So that is going to work really well if we want to see what's happening with this elephant. So, again, I don't think there's any point in really hiding from him too much, because I think he probably knows that we're still here. But one of my favorite things about this open area behind camp is that the animals tend to be quite habituated to humans. And that is thanks to myself and Jerry and James and Conrad and Craig occasionally, and anybody else who likes to stretch their legs and go running around laps around this sort of oval-shaped area. So they see us in our bright-coloured clothing bounding about. We probably look quite pathetic in comparison to the rest of the animals because they're so athletic, except maybe James and Conrad and Craig. I think they laugh at Jerry and I as we run around huffing and puffing, trying to convince one another that we can do one more lap around. That's what we'll be doing this afternoon. Maybe we'll do some game viewing too. Anyways, off you go back across to the Mara, to Isaac, to see if he has finally found the sausage tree, Pride.
Welcome back. I have decided to stick here and see the sun really rise, and it hasn't changed much from what I'm looking. It's just become too yellow, and it's even more, stunning, I would say. Just to give you a location or the area we are in East Africa, very close to the equator, and Kenya is bordered by 5 countries. Elevation here is 5,700 feet, and the countries that surround us to the east are Somalia, Indian Ocean, extreme east, Somalia above, Ethiopia, Sudan, east is Uganda, and south is Tanzania. So that is where Kenya is, and in the map of Kenya, Masai Mara is straight down left, or southwest. That's where it is on your map of Kenya. That's where Masai Mara is, and that's where Mara Triangle is, and that's where I am right now. And I'm in the heart of the Mara Triangle. To the east here is the Olololo Siri escarpment. Off to my right is the Mara River, and back behind me is the beautiful and big, mighty Serengeti. This is where we are, and it is so beautiful. There's no much activity here, especially the birds. I don't know what happened, but maybe they're sleeping in. I don't see very many birds also. Maybe there's not many, fruits here and, seeding grass here. So I think the best idea is to move on. I've been stopped for quite a while, which I feel like I have lost a bit of time. So let me move on and see if we can find the sausages, because that was our mission. And it's a luta continua, we say. A luta continua means, let's say, the struggle continues. Yes, the grass is very high, as I said before, and I'll continue saying. Okay, I'm gonna continue on, and while I do that, let's just send you to Steve.
Welcome back, everybody. We are still with another herd of elephants. They seem to be everywhere this morning. And this little guy who's got a wet nose, he's just been drinking out of the puddle, has decided to shake his head because he's so big and dangerous. Now, you don't really need to worry about young elephants behaving like this, but the characteristic signs is, you can't see it now too clearly, but watch the eyes. The eyes are always the first thing that changes on an elephant, and this little guy is hoping his huge stature is going to intimidate us and we're going to run away. But look how sort of wide his eyes are. You can see the whites. If you find a big female in a herd doing that to you, you know that you've done something wrong. Sorry about the back of our vehicle. He's going to come from behind and try to scare us away. And then you see the head is quite upheld. The tail is moving quite stiffly from side to side. But this characteristic sort of behavior of an elephant that's not very happy with your presence, but that happens quite often with youngsters in a herd. They just want to show you, move away, I'm so much bigger. And quite often the female will move across and be like, calm down, don't waste your energy on those people there. And there he goes. He's gone to join the rest of his family in the thickets over here. It is incredible how quickly a herd of elephants can disappear into the bush, here in the bush. So where we are, just elaborate a little bit more on the reason why we call it the bush. We also get what we call two areas in South Africa. The Highveld, which is all around sort of Johannesburg, Pretoria, and up to the north. And that is the Highveld Bushveld. Which is basically a very different sort of savanna to down here, which is the Lowveld, which is much lower down. We're below the escarpment, whereas in the Highveld, we're up on the escarpment. So much of the Highveld is in fact grassland due to the fact that it's much colder because of frost in winters, but we do not get frost where we are now. So it's much hotter, a much drier bush as well. Although when I say dry, I mean dry in the fact we don't get frost. The temperatures are warmer and we can have rainy summers, but generally not as wet as the Highveld. The Highveld gets a little bit wetter due to more rain and the mountains. Hello, Scott. Well, their tusks are growing from the day that they're born, but you don't really start noticing tusks coming out of an elephant's sort of tusk area until at least 2 or so, and they start protruding out, because any time earlier than that, and the tusks are just preventing them from suckling. You can imagine a walrus trying to eat a mango. It just doesn't work because they can't get there. The 2 tusks are pushing, so they don't need the tusks at early stage, but like teeth, they are slowly growing in the animal's mouth, and after 2-3 years you start seeing them come out. But that's also a genetic thing. Some elephants have got very big tusks, some of them don't have tusks at all, and some have got quite small tusks, and they often are inherited from a genetic line. And there's a reason why we don't see as many big tusks as we used to, and that's because of selective hunting at one stage sort of took a lot of that genetics out of the population, which is very sad, in fact. Okay, well, sorry, Taylor, that we've been so caught up with elephant traffic. We've been trying to check our western boundary this whole morning, but, well, what can you do? If the elephants want to get in the way, we just have to wait, don't we? It's our Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning traffic. Hey, BK, not bad, eh? Not bad for Wednesday morning traffic. I can get stuck in elephant traffic any day of the week. I really do enjoy it. It's a great way to start the day. Now, finally, we are on our western boundary, and we're just going to be driving along slowly to see if there's any tracks coming in, and then we can allow or let the bushwalk team know where to probably follow up. It's the boundary patrol, we call it. It's an important element of the game drive. Carol, you know, an elephant has the potential indeed to ambush you. The thing is with elephants is that they're not sneaky like that, but you do have to pay attention to them. If a herd's not happy, generally they'll know you're there long before. I mean, this car isn't quiet, so the elephant, if it's got an issue with the car, you see there's a car coming up in front, it's probably 70 meters away. If that was an elephant and it knew we were here, that animal would react to us from that distance. They wouldn't just suddenly be close to you and then all of a sudden jump on you like that. We are the only sneaky animals in the world. We're the only sneaky ones who are able to ambush, but it's not uncommon for an elephant to sneak up. But you just got to be vigilant. They'll know that you're there and they'll come from a distance. Good morning. But if an elephant is aggressive or unhappy with your vehicle, you will know that from a distance by its behavior. They'll come very quickly towards the car, silently, very silently. It's a frightening experience when you notice out the corner of your eye this very big animal moving quickly towards you. But bulls, like that young bull that we saw, are quite commonly known to just sort of move up behind very quietly and just come and say hello. But that's not being aggressive. That's just sort of trying to sneak up and be a little bit cheeky. Okay, well, while we check our western boundary, Taylor seems to have found the elephants she was looking for, so let's go to her with elephants on foot.
Well, I feel like the theme of today's drive is going to be elephants. Hopefully Isaac will be able to join us on our elephant quest. We've got 2 elephant bulls of varying ages, which is fantastic, and they really don't mind us at all. Look, the one on the left is younger, and this is awesome. Now, like I said to you, we've opted not to hide ourselves. A little bit of a head shake. Careful, you're going to end up doing a bit of a run. Just going past this, probably going to a favourite marula tree. Like I said, there isn't any reason why we need to hide away. The elephants knew we were here. We were standing out in the open. Their eyesight is not as bad as what everybody thinks. They can definitely hear me, so I don't need to hide my voice now. As long as we don't run around and move around too much, we're fine. So we've just perched ourselves on a fallen log. They know we're here. We know they're there. We're not sitting next to any of their trees, so there's no reason to be upset with us. And there's no breeding herd around us. That's when you need to be a little bit careful. But with these elephant bulls, if you have got expert guides with you, they'll probably keep you safe. And it's one of the most amazing things to experience on a bushwalk. Again, if an elephant bull was in must, we most certainly wouldn't be doing anything like that. That's very, very silly. So if you aren't aware of what must means, we talk about it fairly often, but I think it's a state we need to talk about often. I'm just repeating myself today for the lack of my vocabulary this morning. And the reason why I think it's important is I was in Kruger National Park recently the last couple of days, and I know I've told you this, and the amount of times I saw people doing silly things with elephants, it was actually alarming. Now, I know that a lot of the people come from all over the world, and they don't really have any idea on animal behavior. So if you know some friends that are coming on safari and they're going to do a self-drive, I'd highly recommend you tell them to start watching SafariLive, because we talk about these safety tips on a regular basis. And it's not because we think we're better than anybody, but it's definitely important to make people aware of what's actually going on and how to keep yourself nice and safe. So, you can typically tell by a couple of different signals. The first thing is if you've got your windows down, you'll smell him. It smells like a dirty goat that's washed itself in drain water. So it's not a very pleasant smell. It's quite musty. And then you might also see a secretion from his temporal glands. So they've got glands just behind their eyes. You'll see it dribbling, but that's not a telltale sign, because females can get that too. It's just an overstimulation of adrenaline. But if you look between his back legs towards his nether regions, you'll see that he'll be leaking. He'll be dribbling urine, and there'll be black staining between his legs. Now, if you see that, that means that he is in must. So you want to keep away from him. It's not that they're aggressive, they're just less tolerant, and you could find yourself in a bit of trouble. Lauren, I'm not sure if it's true that elephants mate in water. I've never seen an elephant mating in water before. I've, however, seen elephants mating on land. It looks particularly uncomfortable for the female, because normally the male dwarfs her in size, and, well, it looks like a very awkward experience. So maybe they do. What I have seen, which is quite awkward, some of you might remember, and maybe you'll even share screenshots, but one time at Chitwa, I actually watched, I'm going to stand up now because this bull's moving away. So I actually watched 2 young elephant bulls. They were not particularly one was quite happy with the other one, and he was being mounted by his friend, and it was getting a bit tricky there. This younger bull was desperately trying to get away, and the older bull was sort of forcing himself on top of him, and he was pinning him down in the water. Some of you may remember that sight. It was a little bit disturbing, but anyway, that's just one of those things, and animals do whatever they like and whatever they want. So yeah, so that was awesome sighting. See, not always necessary to hide yourself away. You can sometimes make your presence known. Sometimes it's always the better thing. It's also quite windy today, so we're out in the open, we're safe. We've got lots of vantage points if we needed to get to them, but you could see that those elephant bulls were very relaxed with us. They didn't care. They knew we weren't going to bother them, and it's my favorite thing to do, is approach elephants. So we'll see what else we can go and do. Off you go to not an elephant, but something a little bit taller than them, and I'm assuming they're probably in the Mara, because we don't get to see the giraffe out here in the Sabi Sand very often.
Steve is having a very good time. Yeah, here we have the Maasai giraffe, and this female is a long ways away from where we are, and the reason we wanted to get close to her is she's got a tiny little one. I think it was born last night, and that's why she looks very inquisitive and very focused on us. Anything approaching her right now is a threat. She doesn't trust no one, including maybe even their fellow giraffes. The little one is, I think, somewhere there. We might be able to see it. I think it was born last night, and looks like it's her first birth. She's a very young female. I don't know if we'll be able to see her, but it was, the young one is, I think, to the opposite side. We lost it while we were trying to stop and actually pinpoint exactly where she is, but just to give you a comparison of distance from where we are, Manu is gonna actually zoom out. You see how far she is from us. She's a long ways away. It's only that we have a very powerful camera that we are able to zoom in. I think the little one is off to the right slightly. I'm hoping that it might stand up, or is it off to the right, Manu? Is that the one I see there, or is it behind? I don't know. Maybe it's behind. It's really hiding. Maybe try, if you just stick there, I'm going to try drive maybe 10 meters, and maybe we'll be able to see it from a different angle. This is the difficulties we face sometimes. Animals with young ones are very sensitive, and I wouldn't be the one that's going to stress it. Okay, she's moving now. Let's see if we can maybe be able to see the little one. She's moving. Yes, there it is. Look at it. Look at that. That's beautiful. Yeah, that is very new. You can tell even the horns. It's almost as high as grass. Just slightly taller than the grass. Look at that. Beautiful. Yeah, new life in the beautiful plains of Masai Mara. Look at that. Really, really small. I think it's the first vehicle she's seeing, or even the first sunrise it's seeing. Just imagine how. Whoa, that's a new find. That's really beautiful. Look at that. Yeah, you can tell the mother is very, very careful. She's very cautious, because hyenas and leopards right now are even a threat. That is a very small one. You can tell. See how sensitive she is. Yeah, she's very, very careful. Beautiful. Look at that. Yeah. The little one doesn't actually know exactly what to do, I can tell from here. Gestation period for these beautiful animals is 14 months, and they'll give birth, every about 3 to 4 years. And giraffes are an endangered species. Yes, they are endangered species, the giraffes. So to see a new life, it is awesome for me. I hope, you're sharing the same feeling. Yes, and, to carry a baby that long, I think it's worth it living and reaching adulthood. See how short it is. Yeah, it's almost the same height as most of the grass. And, it's going to... Okay, while, this guy struggles to move on, let me take you back to Steve. I don't want to be with this female for too long. I'd like her to be comfortable. Steve, back to you.
Well, an animal that is in abundance in Djuma is the dwarf mongoose. There are many of them here, having a little bit of a groom session in the early morning in their little hotel. So how awesome is that with a little baby giraffe? Very special to see new life. And little giraffes just always look so awkward. They're such strange looking creatures. I'm just going to quickly update Texan. He's come out onto the game drive. I just need to update him on where I've been and where the elephants are while we watch the grooming happening. How cute. Everyone is having a chat, so let me just wait a moment and I'll be able to then talk to him in a moment. But these termite mounds provide such beautiful sort of accommodation for the dwarf mongoose. I heard Taylor had such a wonderful sighting yesterday with the little youngsters being carried around by mum. It's definitely something I haven't been privileged enough to see. On the left there, there's digging happening. BK, just on the left, to go a bit more left. There's digging happening just there, yeah, just to the left of that dwarf mongoose, a bit more left. There's some fresh sediment being kicked up there. So they are burrowing themselves into the termite mound. Annette, I think we are going to try and provide you with even more cuteness than this. For now, it is just some dwarf mongooses, but, well, baby elephants, dwarf mongooses, baby giraffes. It's going to be one of those kind of days. Hang on one second, everybody. Morning, Tex. There are lots of Ndlovos around Impala Road and power lines. I'm doing Triple M Gary Man just to see if anything's crossed in. So, Texan from Djuma, Voyatela Lodge. He would like to find some lions. So the lions were apparently south yesterday. It's possible that they might cross in. We're heading east now on Gowrie Main. We've done our western boundary. I found where Trishala had Shadulu the other day with a couple of her little, well, with at least one baby climbing the tree. How amazing was that to see? So I was hoping we might have been lucky there, but didn't find any tracks crossing the road. So it's possible she's on the Arathusa Simbambili side still. This is the perfect little place for these dwarf mongoose, and this is sort of a daily thing that they'll do. Wake up in the morning, sit at the mouth of the termite mound or mouth of the holes, and defecate and groom each other, reaffirming all sorts of bonds. Mary, you want to know if dwarf mongooses smell? Well, I don't really know what they smell like. I've never had one close by, but they do have an anal gland, so they do paste, which probably has a funny, funky smell, but they are very clean. They're grooming each other all the time. So they definitely are removing any parasites that there might be, but they don't have the benefit of a bath like we do, so they probably smell very much like a dwarf mongoose does. And I'm sure that they all know what each other smells like, so it's quite sort of characteristic smells. So a lot of just coming out of everywhere. There's lots of them everywhere. So they will know each other by smell, because you can imagine they all look the same. To us they look the same, but individually they all are unique. They all have a unique smell, and they probably know each other through smell and even through sight. I don't know how that's possible. You imagine the family photograph, they would all look the same. They're all lining up in a row, and you know who's Bob and who's Sally, no problem. I wouldn't know how to tell the difference. The only thing you really tell is the size. You get much bigger ones and obviously much smaller ones, but I really wouldn't know without spending a lot of time how to identify males and females. Cashew, the termite mound, this one, for example, doesn't look like it's that active. If it is, it might be active deep down in the sort of depths of the earth. But there's no real new growth on the top. You can see that the mound is a little bit sort of want of some repair, like some old ruins that we have around the world. You can see there's lots of holes, lots of gaps. So the termites could still be in certain areas, but the channels and the sort of areas that they've designed for aeration and for movement are well used by the mongoose. Obviously, the mongoose are insect eaters, so they will eat termites if they can get access to them. So it's not uncommon to have termites in an active mound with many other animals living in the burrows, but those burrows generally get sort of blocked off and sealed away from the actual termite mound itself, because the termites like to control their own access of air and moisture inside. So quite often, if there is digging, they might just seal off an area, almost like the bilge tank of a sort of a large boat. They'll just seal off that area so as they can maintain their normal sort of environmental processes in other areas of the mound. But this one particularly doesn't look active at all. But you will find many species using termite mounds, active or not. The termite mounds can stay active for a very long time. They can also go dormant. The queens can live 20, 30 years in some of these mounds, and certain conditions can lead to the downfall, namely rainfall. Huge amounts of rainfall can kill a termite mound, but what has happened to this one, I'm not too sure. We are sort of semi up on the slope, so I don't think it was rain, but lovely to be able to spend time with such relaxed mongoose right here next to the road. Their real estate is right next to the busy road here on the south, so that's probably why they're so relaxed to the vehicle and to my voice, of course, because, well, it's like having a house next to the highway. You just get used to the sounds. But anyway, Taylor is on foot and she's absolutely loving being back on Djuma. Let's go and see what she's up to.
Itchy. I forgot that on bushwalk in the morning you're supposed to wear long pants because the grass makes you itch. So that's going to be fun. Really trying hard not to think about it. Senzo, how long does the itchiness last for? The whole drive. I'm going to have to find like a natural soothing agent now. I cannot tell you, it's the craziest thing. It's like 1,000 mosquitoes have bitten your legs. But anyway, so we're walking on the road now. We're going to stick to the road because it's very unpleasant. I should have learned from Senzo and Rexton this morning, who have both got long pants on. So there's another useful tip for you. If you do go on safari and it's during our summer months and you're planning on doing a bushwalk, bring a pair of long pants. Also, you don't have the grass seeds getting stuck in your shoelaces, although they haven't been too bad, but the itchiness is at a whole nother level. And so last night, remember I was telling you about wild dogs and how they were on some properties. So I got a full update late last night that just about 30 minutes after drive close, Peter from Nkoro, he found Kuchava on Chitwa, which is quite cool. So she's been hanging around there in the sort of the southeastern corner of Chitwa, but I think she still bounces across to Torchwood. But maybe if Tandi's pushed more into Torchwood, she's had to shift her territory back to her old place. Then there was also a big male leopard, but I don't know who it was. We're going to head in that area, but if it is Tingana, we probably won't track him on foot. He doesn't like people very much, but the wild dogs are on Chitwa, so I have told Steve, so hopefully Steve goes into that area, because Sydney and myself drove that western corner like you cannot believe, every single road, and we had no sign at all of Shidulu coming back across, because I had her last tracks. I showed you yesterday morning when I surprised all of you that she'd walked across the tire shreds and straight back into Arathusa. So she's obviously feels quite comfortable there. So maybe she'll come back in the next couple of days or so. Hopefully he makes it in time, because I know if I was driving, I'd definitely go to the wild dogs. And that open area is so filled with impala and all sorts of animals. Man, this will be cool. I really like watching them. So yeah, so we're basically going to just walk and see what else we can find. We haven't picked up on any lion tracks or any leopard tracks just yet. Our elephants moved off. I think they went down towards the Telepan, so you may have seen them on the dam cam. But I don't know what our general direction is. I think we'll kind of get up towards Weaver's Nest, Philemon's Cut Line, just have a look, see what's down on the ground. That seems to be a pretty good, thorough way for animals coming from the west and the south. They always seem to come up there. So we're kind of going to give it a bash. It's a bit cold. I've obviously got a jersey on now, and that means for us that the insects are not really going to be awake. But Craig was saying to me that there weren't as many insects, or there aren't as many insects this year as there were last year. But we'll keep checking. Maybe in the next hour or so, as it starts to warm up, the butterflies will arrive. So off you go. That way, not that way. that way, because that's north, because you can go back to Isaac. He's had the giraffe. He's still on the search for the sausage tree pride. Hopefully he'll find those bundles of joy.
And just like I told you, we were looking for the sausage tree pride, but in this bush there's a new discovery. I've come across a lioness, and she's got 2 very tiny cubs. This is a new find. I don't know what female she is. She's in the middle of nowhere, and there she is. You can see her there. So my heart is pounding. I'm just, my day has ended here, because now I will be here until I know who she is. She is in the middle of nowhere. This is Owino's territory. And I think she's one. You see her? She's moving. There. There she is. There's a cub. There's a cub. There. Yeah. There she is. So this is amazing news. This is breaking news to me. I can't believe it. I'm so happy to be the first one to see them, because this is an area we don't come often. It is an area that is in the middle of nowhere, and nobody has been here. I have proof, because this is a track that nobody has used since it has been raining. And so it is amazing to be the one to discover this. It's so beautiful. Look at that. There she is. There is a female. There is the female. Yeah. There's one cub that when we arrived, she moved away, and I think she's going towards that cub. Yeah, I hope she picks it with her mouth and brings it back. Yes. Unbelievable. I'm so excited. Yeah, she's following one cub that when we arrived, it took off. I think it's never seen a vehicle. The cub moved off and ran away. So she's going there. Let's see. I don't know if she's going to find it. Yes, I think she's found it. That's where it is. Well, I don't know what female this is, but definitely one of the Owinos. And she's got new cubbies. Oh yes, a new addition to our lions. We have so many things to look forward for. Can you imagine when the migration comes here? Yeah. Yes, it's amazing. Yeah, let's wait and see. I don't know if she's gonna pick the little guy up, because she's looking at the little guy. Wow. Unbelievable. This is so amazing. This is jackpot for me, I would say. There's nothing better than finding new cubbies. I don't know if she's gonna pick it. Let's wait and see. It's right there somewhere. Yeah. Okay, I don't know what she's doing, but I think she's found it. Maybe she might lead it back towards, where the other is. I was just driving, and I saw this thing move in the bush. We backed up, and then we saw the cub trying to hide. The female seems to be very comfortable with me, so she's used to vehicles. I can't identify her because she's still quite a ways, but I'm hoping, because I'm not going. Yes, this is amazing, it's unbelievable. Yes. Yeah, Manu, I think I'm gonna change position a little bit. Yeah. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome. It's amazing news, surprising news. We have new cubs. I've come across a female. I don't know who she is, but she's got very, very tiny cubs. And where she is, it's quite a distance from where I am. And she's standing right in front of a cub. And what I'm going to do is drive a little bit that way and then see if we can see the cub. But it is a new news for me, and I'm so excited. Very, very excited. She to be very comfortable with me. She's not worried. So I'm gonna park somewhere here and let's share. Yeah, there she is. There is a cub that she's following. It was very shy and took off. I don't know who this female is. I'll have to ask, my colleagues to tell me who she is. She's got a very sharp notch on the right ear, a very deep, notch. And both ears have got notches, but the right one has got a very deep cut. Okay, let's wait and see. She might pick up the little guy. The little guy is by the grass there. I don't know if she's gonna pick it, but definitely there is two cubs. One she has left in the bushes, and the other one is somewhere there. It is very nice to know that most of the females in the Mara Triangle have got cubs. The Sausage Tree Pride have got about 7 new ones. The Salt Lake Pride, they have about 2 months old one. And now I think this is one of the Owino females, and she's got 2 very tiny. I would say they are a month. When the little guy walked, she was a bit wobbly and, disappeared off into the long grass. It's a pity I can't drive there, but definitely it's somewhere there. I'm hoping that I can get to share, this great news with you by showing you the little guy. I don't know where she's heading. Hopefully she can pick the little guy up. Come on, girl. Show it to us. Look at that. She's very, very healthy. Very healthy looking female. And I'm so happy for her. This is an amazing spot where she's been hiding them. I think the last time I was here was years back, and I followed this track that was headed towards the escarpment, and boom, there was jackpot. Wow. Come on, girl. Do you want to show it to us? This is situations where I cannot interfere. I cannot drive close. You have to believe me, there is some cubbies. Yeah, Trish, thank you for your comment. You say beautiful. Yes, indeed, it is beautiful. She's followed the little guy into that bush there. Yes, it is wonderful news. Yes, we can never have enough lions. We always need more. And that was actually a bonus find for me. I'm so happy. John, how is the relation between lions and the local inhabitants? Well, of course, there's always a little bit of, they rub shoulders. There's always a bit of conflict. But prides like these ones that are deep into the triangle have no issues with humans. But very close to our camp, like 5 days ago, we had some lions that went out there to a village and ate a donkey, and then another 2 lionesses ate a cow, and they also killed a zebra last night close to the airstrip. So there is still some conflicts because humans are moving more closer towards the reserve. There's always going to be that. They just have to be a mutual understanding between the conservationists and the local community, which is taken care of here perfectly. When a donkey or a cow is eaten, they will compensate the local people. Well, girl, are you gonna show us the little guy? Sorry for putting you in too much tension, but I'm hoping to share this great find with you. It is a find, and I tell you, it is a find. I'm hoping she's gonna pick up that little guy. I don't know what's happening. Don't know what she's doing. Okay, she's going into the bush there. Maybe the little guy is in the bushes. Renee, you say she's been a good mother and hiding the babies. Of course, she's a very good mother, and at this age, she's definitely being very protective. Also, I can't blame the little guys. Maybe I am the first vehicle that they have seen, and I believe so because the reaction, although I was very far, was very, very different from the sausages and the Salt Lake Pride cubs. You know, one of the little guys just took off, and I think, yes, it's a fast vehicle they've seen. It's amazing. Okay, I think maybe it's out because she's got her head down. I don't know if she's gonna show it to us. Gemma, you asked me when do you think she had the cubs? I would say beginning of this month, because they were very fluffy and also very very wobbly when walking. They look like 3 weeks, something like that. Gemma? Yes, she's looking further up. Well, that notch on the ear will tell me who she is. Later on, I'm gonna go and look at our database and try to find who she is. I think the cub is inside that bush. There, I think it's there. Yes, she's looking for it in that bush. So we might get to see it, or she might pick it up or bring it out. She's behind the bush now. I don't know what's happening. Come on, girl. We're waiting. Can you show it to us? It's not a must, but... Liz, you asked me if it's her first litter. Of course, it doesn't look like, she's very, big female. She looks like she's been here quite a while. So I don't think it's a first litter. I think it could be second or third. Yes. Is she licking it? I don't know. Where is it? No, she's walking too fast for it to catch up. So I don't think it's there. She's walking too fast for the little guy to catch up. So I don't think, the cub is there. Yeah, she's walked too far. I don't know where she's going. Well, I don't know. Now she's moved quite a distance. Sometimes animals will do this, where they'll try to lead you away from whatever, the cubs they have, so that, you don't see them. And also, if they feel like, they're hiding and they're comfortable, they'll do the same. They'll head away from the cubs. So definitely there is cubs here, and 2 of them I saw. There's one behind me, and there's one that, where she went, there was one. So that is the case at the moment. As it stands, we have 2 new cubs that I will be sharing with you so that you can confirm, and also my fellow guides here will actually share them with you because this is a great find. I'm so excited. I'm so happy for this lioness. Yeah, she's moved quite a distance now from where we are. It's amazing. Coming here was a journey, because I followed 2 tracks and they ended up in like a dead end. I turned the first one, then the second one, then I took this one, and I think it was something telling me that you have to go this way. And I'm so happy now that it has led me here. Well, I don't know if she's gonna go back now. Now she's going farther and farther. So I think she has left the den site. But definitely this is a spot that I will be coming again and again. Makeup girl, actually I didn't understand that question. Could you ask the question again, please? Makeup girl. Yeah, she's disappeared off there. Sorry, makeup girl, you ask, does the cub, the lioness stay with the cubs all the time? No, she doesn't. She will head out like the way she's headed out, and then find something to eat, then come back. The only time she stays very long with the cub is when they're new, because she's got plenty of milk. She will stay with them for up to about 10 days and then leave for like a few hours. Go find something to eat, then come back. And every now and then, she will do that. Well, it's been nice sharing with you this great find. And I hope, we can follow them again in the next coming days. It is so exciting. I'm very happy. Thank you very much. And goodbye for now. We're back again, and here that is a new lioness with 2 new cubs. It's amazing. It is so beautiful. I can't believe it. That's a great find. I don't know what she's doing there. I don't know if she's gonna come back. Maybe she's finding a new spot where she's gonna relocate them, because they have to relocate them every couple of days. And the main reason is that where they leave them, the scent might grow too strong, and other animals might detect them. So she has to move them every couple of days. And I think maybe she's scouting this area. This area is pristine, very few commotion, very few animals. So it is a nice area for her. And over here, she doesn't need to move them very, very far. Okay, and while I wait here and see what's gonna happen, let me take you down to Steve and see what he's up to.
Well, how interesting is that? The weirdos with the cubs. Well, what do you know? Very, very special. Well done, Isaac. Well, we are standing by on Chitwa. We are waiting to go into a wild dog sighting. Yes, the wild dogs have been found. They are running around Chitwa airstrip. So we are just waiting for our turn to go in. We are on the first standby, and once that next vehicle leaves, we can go in. So we'll hopefully be able to get into the wild dogs shortly. We could see them from a very long distance, but we don't want to get involved in that sighting. Obviously, you don't want to influence. It's 3 vehicles per sighting, so we moved away. But we did see a hyena moving in the direction of them as well. But the dogs are up and down. They're probably trying to hunt. All the impalas are running and chasing each other all over the place, not making a sound, though. You can hear some zebras now calling in the distance. When the wild dogs hunt, everything gets terrified. We were just at Chitwa Dam a moment ago, and, well, all the waterbuck were looking very, very skittish, because apparently the dogs were found behind the dam, and now they've run. They almost went east out of Chitwa, and now they've turned around again. It's one of those things, if you ever follow wild dogs up and down, you never really know where they're going. When you're following a pride of lions, they generally have a direction, and they'll end up on the other side. That you don't find too much of this up and down. The dogs don't seem to have much of a plan. It's just a sort of a up and down movement. Okay, but we're going to wait right here, and hopefully we get called in shortly. But in the meantime, let's go back over to Taylor and see what she's doing on foot.
Guess what? We had some squirrels alarming. I've forgotten how to whisper. I don't know, I haven't spoken this softly in a very long time. But we had lots of birds chirping, and then we had a squirrel going crazy. So, we will see. Sorry. I just heard Nina. I have to tell you, Nina's one of our new directors. And she says the update was Taylor is whispering because she's found some squirrels. That's my highlight of the drive so far. Thank you very much, Nina, for making me laugh. Okay, we don't know what was here, what disturbed everything, but I think it's not here anymore. I think it's probably moved off because we weren't talking very loud. We were just having a very soft conversation. And it's like that thing had moved and then all the animals saw it and started panicking. So we'll carry on. So we're crossing a drainage line. Now you have to be careful when you come through these drainage lines because this is a great place. We always talk about for rhinos, for buffalo, for even a hippopotamus. You know, it might not be... Well, hippo might just be moving through here, heading back to the water. You know, buffalo could just be having a sleep or grazing on this lovely grass. The same thing goes for a rhinoceros, and you can see all the mud down here. This is perfect. This is such a great area for rhinos and buffalo to typically wallow in. So when you come through, we have obviously made sure that it's nice and safe. We're not going to hang around in here though. You sort of do so fairly quickly. Elephants will also come through here and they'll use something like this. And you wouldn't want to surprise a breeding herd, you know, all of a sudden come down. Because even though elephants are really big, they can be very quiet. Okay, up we go. So we kind of had a plan. We were going to go towards Treehouse Dam, but we've changed it now. Rexon and Senzo also heard something barking in the distance. What was it? Do you know? I didn't hear it. I missed it. I was probably talking too much. So we're kind of heading in that direction as well. I mean, we all know that I talk too much. So we'll just keep going. I'm really hoping for some cool insects today, but I think maybe the afternoon bushwalks will be better for that. It's a little bit too chilly. It's warming up nicely now, though. But I haven't seen any spiders. Actually, I haven't even seen a spider web this morning. Not even one covered in dew, which is always so pretty. Okay, let's go around. But there are just signs of elephants everywhere. Lots of tracks all over the show. So we're probably going to bump into a few more of them today. This is a road that I've not been on for quite some time. Ingwe Alley. I like cutting through this little drainage line. It's really nice. Okay, here's some nice soft sand. Let's see what was going on. Yeah. Okay. So we've got a little bird of sorts that was walking here, maybe like a little corsair or something that was moving around here. And then this one, can you see that little trail there, Senzo? That looks like a snail or a slug has come creeping along the road. It looks like that sort of mucus substance that they release. That's quite cool. So that would have been from this morning. Lots of little ants moving around, just going about their day, but no big leopard or lion tracks. So we'll keep searching. And somebody that can stop searching now is Isaac, because again he has won the prize for finding the most animals.
Welcome back, everybody, and here are the cubs. See, it's there. There is a cub. There. See it? Tiny, tiny, tiny. Look at that. Beautiful. I can't believe it. Actually, they followed her in the long grass, but we didn't know. As we continued following her, then we realized they're actually following her. Wow. Unbelievable. Can you hear the noises they're making? Yeah, there they are. Yeah, they're somewhere there. You're going to be seeing them quite soon. And she might do the magic and pick one up. It's going to be so amazing. Yes. I think they're actually 3, not 2. I could see the movement in the long grass, but I have seen one. You see that one moving there? Yeah. Yeah, it's leaking one. You can tell. It's leaking it. Somewhere there. There it is. See it? Tiny. Look at that. Beautiful. There are actually 2. There's one to the left also. There are 2 over there. Yeah, there they are. Beautiful, look at that. Beautiful, look at that. She's a very, very, actually mature female. So I think she's a very good mother. Yeah, here they are. They're coming over here. Here. There. Yes. Danielle, thank you. They're coming this way. Here, right here. Okay, I'm gonna move because I don't want to have they're getting unhappy with me. There are 3 of them. You see them? Right here. Yes. Beautiful, look at that. She's gonna pick up one. Beautiful, look at that. Unbelievable. So beautiful. Yes, very new. You rarely get to see this. Yeah, and the 2 are going back into the bush here to my right. Unbelievable. Look at that. Yes, those are. Yes. Welcome once again, everybody, and it's official. There are 3 tiny ones, and they're in the bush right to my right. My name is Isaac, and on camera I have Manu. That is the mother, and she's peeping through the long bushes here. I'm gonna reverse slightly because she has gone out of my sight. I'm gonna reverse slightly so that we can be able to share them with you. They're somewhere in the bush. Here they are. See, that's one of them. Unbelievable. Those are fresh cubs, only about maybe 3 weeks old. This is the Owino Pride, and this is one of the females with the tiny little ones. They've gone back to the bush. Look at that. There are 3 of them. We saw the mother carrying one. It is wonderful news. I just, I know I'm really happy that I had to wake up that early. Sometimes it happens that way. And this is what happens when you wake up in the morning. Sometimes you find good stuff, and I'm so excited, and I'm very happy to have seen these little guys. I don't think they've ever seen another vehicle because this is the area that very few people come to, and this is the Owino Pride. Now, I know that, we have extra lions. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's so wonderful. You can look at this bush like this and think, there is nothing, but there is lions. So, I'm going to move back a little bit, and hopefully we can see them, from a distance. Hopefully we can see them from a distance. But this is the track that I was following, and there they just appeared. That's the mother, you see it? That's the female over there, and she's in that bush. That's where the 3 cubs are. Yeah, in case you missed, she was carrying them with a mouth, in her mouth. They're somewhere there. I thought there were 2 earlier on, but there were 3. Surprisingly, when she moved away, I couldn't see them moving. But she was walking the long grass, and I thought she was only walking away from where they were. But actually, she was following them in the long grass. That's how, small they are. They're somewhere in the bush. There she is. I don't know if she's gonna pick up another one. You can see that there's the grass moving over there. Yeah, she's going towards one. Looks like, yes, I don't know if she's gonna pick it up, but they're heading away. They seems to have, have been moving. That's how we saw them. They went into that bush, and then, she's moving them to the next, location, I think, after where she gave birth. And you can tell they're mobile, so I would say they have opened their eyes, and they are very mobile. Okay, are you going to pick up one for us? Yeah, there she is. I don't know if she's going to do it. Yeah, she's licking one, you can tell. Can hear the little one calling. She's quite comfortable. There's another one, moving in the long grass there. I think she's waiting for them. Nice. Yeah, there it is. The little one. You see it? There. It's moving in the long grass. This is the advantage of having, you know, a powerful camera. You can see them from a long way without disturbing them. Beautiful. Yeah, she's in very good shape, this female. Yeah, are you gonna pick up one for us? She's looking at them. I think they're all there now. Okay, you gonna pick up one? Nah. Yeah, she's going back to the bush. Maybe there is one left there, or maybe she wants them to follow. Well, it's been nice hosting you and sharing this great find with, you know, of the Owino Pride with you. On behalf of me, my cameraman, and everybody at Safari Live, thank you very much and goodbye, and continue following this beautiful find. Yeah, welcome back everybody, and I'm still here in the middle of nowhere, just below the Olololo escarpment, and my female, seems to have been moving her little cubs, and that's how we saw her. I don't know where she's destined, but definitely she's on a mission, and I'm going nowhere because this is an amazing, she's a great find. Okay, while I follow her, let's take you back to Steve, who's got some wild dogs.
Welcome back, everybody. Look what we found. We're just trying to get in a good position for you. It's wild dogs right here in front of the car. We've also got some impala coming up on the left-hand side, and it looks like the dogs are maybe going to go for them. But the zebras have been chasing these wild dogs up and down. We heard them from a distance. We could hear the zebras making a lot of noise. And these are some very brave impala that I don't think actually know what lies just behind us. Those impala are looking over here, wondering what's going on. But we do have wild dogs that have all suddenly gone behind the bush. We'd position ourselves in a nice position to see them, and then a vehicle decided to photobomb. So we moved very slightly. But what we're going to do is we're going to stay right here in this position, because I think the dogs might have spotted them, and they're probably going to move off towards those impala shortly. But it was quite funny watching the zebra. They were chasing these dogs up and down. I think it's Investec breakaways. I think I counted 8. But just trying to get a good view of them. They're all in the shade now. The zebras, they were looking very distressed at the wild dogs. It was quite nice to see wild dogs in the same frame as the zebra, because, well, zebra not generally the kind of prey item that wild dogs take down. They're a little bit too big, but I'm not saying it's not possible. If there was a young zebra or a weak one, it would be picked out very easily. Wild dogs do prefer much smaller prey, such as impala, which we have an abundance of over there, and that is Mike's Kitchen, where they do their bush braais out here on Chitwa. But now I'm going to reposition, because it just seems as soon as we positioned there that the dogs all went behind this tree, and now we can't see what they're doing. And I'm sure you'd all like to see some wild dogs this morning, of course. Let me just position for you there. We don't want to get in the way of them and their breakfast. There we go, all in the road up ahead. There they are. I wonder if they will suddenly launch themselves into an attack. Let me count them again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it is the Investec breakaways. They've been moving for some time. We've been just listening on the radio as they've moved up and down. And fortunately, we've been allowed to get into the sighting. And, well, maybe we'll have some action shortly. No rest for the dogs normally. They were just trying to enjoy some shade when the zebras decided to chase them. But there are impalas all over the place. So hopefully these dogs will manage to catch something. Sean, you want to know what dogs these are? These are called wild dogs, also known as the painted wolf. This is an indigenous dog species to Africa, next to the cheetah, the most sort of endangered carnivore that we have the privilege of viewing. The Ethiopian wolf being the most endangered carnivore on the African continent. But wild dogs are persecuted due to the fact that they are very efficient hunters, probably in the 90% sort of success rate when it comes to hunting. When they get their sights on something, they generally catch it. So if you're a stock farmer or a goat farmer, wild dogs in Africa are a problem for you, but unfortunately they were here before us. So they are very, very, very efficient predator, and they work and live in families like this with an alpha male, alpha female. You can quite often see who they are by the behavior. And often hunts are led by the alpha male. He starts it all off. He's a dominant male, and everybody follows his lead. But I'm trying to see, I'm not sure if it is the Investex, because they do have a number of youngsters. And these all look like adult dogs to me right now. But it's really hard to say. It's amazing how quickly the youngsters do grow into adults. One thing is for sure, there's lots of flies irritating them there, isn't there? Lots of flapping and flicking. And not often you get to see wild dogs lying down. They're often just moving. And judging by the sounds on the radio before we came here, that is exactly what they were doing. They were up and down, up and down. But I'm quite surprised that they have not gone for these impala that are just over in the distance here. Surely you're hungry, guys, or have you run out of energy already? Their energy is normally non-ending. That is their strategy, is they chase animals, and they basically run them into the ground. It might seem quite cruel, but it is what they do. Wild dogs are a pack hunting animal, very much like wolves. There's so much about them actually that is very wolf related, the alpha. And it's only the alpha female who will breed, because wild dogs can have as many as 18 pups at once, which is a lot of mouths to feed. So none of the other females will breed. It'll only be the one, and they will, like the dwarf mongoose we saw earlier, will use burrows inside the ground, like hyenas do as well, for the protection of their youngsters against predators, because leopards and lions will take these dogs out if they can. They are competition, very efficient competition as well. They compete directly with leopards, the same sort of food size, and it's not uncommon to find dogs, hyenas and leopards interacting in some form of way. The dogs do not like hyenas, and the feeling is mutual. Hyenas will often follow them around, being one-on-one a stronger individual, but a pack of dogs against a couple hyena are very, very formidable. Well, it seems like they're all going to be moving into the shade, and well, the impalas are coming closer and closer. Gremlin, they are indeed. I mean, they are a canis, so they are part of the same family. I mean, a wolf is European or North American, and painted wolf, or the painted dog, is the African version. So they would have evolved in a different habitat, a different sort of climate range. These obviously on the African continent, wolves more in the northern climates, much colder, much more snow, so different sort of design in the fur, but down the line they would all have descended from the same sort of animal, just like jackals, bat-eared foxes, coyotes, wolves. They all come from a similar sort of lineage, and they all are true dogs. It's the only social dog that we know of in Africa. The jackal being a monogamous pair, the bat-eared fox semi-social, but just a little bit more of a family. You get a male and a female with some offspring, but not really regarded as social as the dogs. The dogs require the strength in numbers to be able to hunt efficiently and to be able to defend their territory against others. But in saying that, wild dogs have got such an enormous area that they move in that it's more of a home range that they have rather than a territory. That's why when we find dogs here, it's not easy to really identify who they are due to the area. With leopards and lions, generally where you find them, it's a good indication of who it might be. But the dogs cover such an extensive area, and it's also one of the reasons why they're persecuted. Fences don't generally keep them in, so they're not confined to conservation areas. They can move and move and move. Okay, well, while we wait here and see if these dogs get up and maybe go catch themselves a breakfast, a bucket list thing for myself and BK, I'm sure we're going to send you back over to Taylor, who I think is searching for a frog.
It's very different. Hello? Can you hear us? Can you see us? Ah, okay, so you heard my song. So shall we try this again? I can't even remember where it is now. Oh, there, I can see it again. Okay, so Zenzo is sitting very awkwardly at the moment. Have we got it?
Yeah, I think it's the one in the middle.
Okay, let me point him out for you again. Sorry, everyone, we're having fantastic technical difficulties. Does that help?
Yeah.
Look at that. Okay, so Senzo's just going to reposition very quickly. Our camera is not cooperating with us right now. Let me know when you got it, and then I shall move this way. Got it?
I've got it.
Look at that tiny little bushwild rain frog. That is so small. I'm going to... that's a piece of grass that you can see. I'm going to put my... let's put my thumb there, which is like 3 times the size of this little creature. It is very, very cute. But it is missing a leg. Can you see that this leg over here is gone? I don't know what happened to it. It has sustained an injury. It could be a very little bushveld rain frog. Maybe it's a male bushveld rain frog because they're much smaller than the females. But who knows? Because this thing is exceptionally tiny. But not too good that it's got an injury like that. Although it was crawling around all right. Oh my gosh, there's an ant coming. Please, can you go? I want to try and encourage the ant. Go, ant. I think it's a Polyrhynchus ant. Please, can you show the world how small that frog is? I'm going to try and wrangle the ant onto the piece of grass. Please, come here. No, it's too clever. Go. It knows. Yeah. This ant does not want to be wrangled. Okay, that's fine. But anyways, it's really cool to see little things like this, and not unusual after a whole bunch of rain to have a couple of frogs. I'm hoping that if we check these puddles, we're able to see some more. Maybe we'll even see some frog or toad eggs or some tadpoles. And I really do enjoy the amphibians. I just hope that nobody drives here, though, because this thing is going to get squashed. Because there's absolutely no ways you'll see something so small from a car. And I'm pretty sure, as guides or just any of us driving around, we don't intentionally drive over any of these little critters. But something like that. Whew. Right. Mary, I didn't see it. I can take absolutely no credit for finding the frog. Rexon found it for me. The frog. Can't you see it? It's vanished, yeah. Shall we move it to the water? I'm really concerned. I'm going to get a leaf to usher the frog around. And just, I suppose I don't really need a big leaf because it's so tiny. Yeah, take one of these. I want to see it swim. Well, not swim. I just want to move it so that it's not in the middle of the road. Because I want you to live. You've already got one little leg that's not there. Actually, it's quite cool. Shall we look at it on the leaf? Yeah. Don't you dare walk onto the edge. Don't jump. Sorry, Senzo. No! No, I've got it. My ninja reflexes caught it. Come, little froggy. Please go onto the leaf, because I use all sorts of hand lotions, and I don't want you to... It doesn't like the leaf. Perhaps it doesn't feel camouflaged. Stay there. How cool is that? Don't go onto my hand. Okay, it's going onto my hand now. It's walking. Okay, Senzo, let's put it down. Come, little froggy, to your new home, where you can hide away here, amongst all the vegetation. It will go into the water if it wants to. But these little bushveld rain frogs are typically terrestrial. You see them more on land. You see them in small puddles and things like that. And when winter comes about and there's not a lot of water around, what they will do is burrow themselves under the sand or in the mud and estivate. Wonderful. I feel good that we potentially saved a frog from being squashed either by our own feet or a tire tread. Something that won't be happening with Steve is, of course, him driving over the dogs, but however, they might be able to outrun him.
Welcome back, everybody. We are still with these wild dogs, and James Richard has commented that it doesn't look like the Investec and Bali breakaways. Well, I couldn't recognize. Last time I saw them, I had a good idea of the youngsters. They were quite easy to see, but these all look like adult dogs. I don't think any of them are youngsters, but who are they? If they're not the Investec breakaways, who are they? No idea. Well, it doesn't really bother me. I like seeing wild dogs. It doesn't matter who they are. They could be anyone. They could have come from anywhere. They were a little bit jumpy as I moved around here. They all jumped out of the way. So, maybe they can smell something on the wind that we can't. But we've parked slightly downwind of them. And, well, the smell wafting over to us once again is one of those smells that Jamie's going to want to put on her scratch and sniff book, because it's just this sweet and sour sort of smell. Dogs have got a very... What do you think that smells like, BK? What's your opinion? It's nice to have everyone's opinion about what they think about the smell. What do you think?
To me, it's like a spot where people have been urinating.
Okay, so BK thinks it smells like an area that someone's been urinating on for a time. So it's quite a sort of sour, urine-y smell. That's quite an interesting one. It's very hard to really explain to all of you back home. It's this weird, sour, musky, dirty smell that's very characteristic of dogs. When you follow them, you often get that smell lingering in the air as they move, and it's one of those characteristic smells that no doubt the antelope pick up on, and well, it causes them to absolutely freak out. But I'm very surprised because there are two herds of impala on either side of us, one behind us and one on the other side of that bush, and they are aware the dogs are here, and they're standing off in a distance, basically just watching them, because it's better the predator you can see than the predator you can't see. But I think maybe some of them are unaware. Come on, dogs, show us something. I've never been with dogs that have actually physically hunted, so that's a bucket list sort of thing for myself. Brown Safari, you want to know how many dogs in a family group? Well, it starts with an alpha and an alpha male and alpha female, and then they can have offspring, and the offspring will then move into the family. But what we've seen is that there was 4 in the Investex, and then they had 7 youngsters at one stage, and I think there's only 4 of the youngsters around, so that makes 8. Here's 8. Then there's the Hamilton family, and I think they're about 16 or something. They're much more. But it can get to a point where the family will actually break up due to the fact that there's not that much food. So essentially, if you have a family that's too big, it becomes a problem because you have to hunt more. So pretty much between 8 and maybe 12 is sort of the average that we see. But there's no sort of set in stone number. Wild dogs' lives are quite fragile. They're not a very powerful animal, and lions and leopards do take advantage of that. So they do breed prolifically so as to sort of supplement their numbers. And so you'll see the dog numbers will fluctuate. In the park, I don't really know how many families of dogs there are, but it's very, very good to see how many dogs we are seeing of late, which is a very positive sign for their numbers growing back up in the Kruger National Park. But just over here, BK, not far away, there is an impala. He is not far at all, just off to the left there. So if these dogs spot one of these impala, just there, straight through that, you maybe can't see him, a little bit right. He's just behind that branch, everybody. Just there behind the branch. He's getting very brave. Ravinda, you want to know if a single wild dog could survive a hyena attack? Well, they're very quick. And wild dogs, really, their strength comes in their numbers. So a wild dog on its own will shy away from any conflicts unless it's maybe cornered or unless it's got puppies. It won't stand against any predator, leopard, lion, hyena. It won't stand. One hyena versus a wild dog, I reckon, would dominate due to the jaw power, the bite strength, and just the physicality. But wild dogs aren't likely to... Oh, that impala's running straight towards these dogs. This could actually be... Come on, doggies, up you get. So if one wild dog came near hyena, it wouldn't even attempt. It would just keep away, just like jackal do whenever they're near leopards or lions. They just keep away. They'll come close and investigate, but they won't confront. They won't get involved with the conflict. But as numbers, as a group, well, they will definitely play and attack a lion, a leopard. Well, maybe not. I've never seen wild dogs being antagonistic towards lions, only if they maybe need to defend their den. They generally shy away from lions. They will go against a hyena for sure, and they will tree leopards to steal their kills, but then it can also turn quite quickly. A leopard does have the potential to kill a dog, and they actually do quite enjoy dogs. They enjoy jackal, they enjoy dogs. They will kill them for food, not just as competition. So the wild dogs have to be super vigilant. I can't believe how close this herd of impala are off on the left here, and these dogs haven't even looked at them. This family of impala, I think everybody has no idea that these dogs are here. They have no idea what dangers are lurking behind this red bush willow. Once again, behind the bush where we are in the African savannas. The bush is what helps these animals to conceal themselves. And, well, you're looking at about 40 meters, maybe 50 meters. This is prime space for wild dogs, and there's some youngsters in the herd as well. Well, everybody, I am very excited. This could be something, but the dogs don't have any idea. The wind is blowing in the right direction, so it doesn't make any sense. Maybe they've exhausted themselves. They are very successful, so when they choose to hunt, well, that's it. They will hunt, and they will generally catch whatever they're looking for. Being opportunistic, they will also select the weakest out of the herd, and not uncommon to find impalas jumping into water to try and get away from the attentions of wild dog. As we get that smell in our nose, it will come right back to us if anything happens. But let's go back up to Isaac, who is having all the luck this month with lion cubs.
Those are the cubs right there. Then you find there are 3 of them hiding in the long grass. They keep coming and going into that big bush. Sometimes, I wonder what they're trying to investigate, because they keep coming out and then going back. They keep coming out and going back. See, now I think they're going back. I can see them really well on my monitor here, but they're right there somewhere. The tiny little cubs. It's the first day we've seen them, and it's amazing. I'm so excited. Yes, they look like they're 3 weeks old, and the main reason I say it's 3 weeks, they look like they have those grayish-blue eyes. So they do open their eyes at the age of 2 weeks, and these guys, I would say, looking at the body size and the experience of how many cubs I've seen over the years, I would say about 3 weeks. They're a bit wobbly when walking. They have walked about like 30 meters from where we first saw them, and then the mother is lying somewhere there. She's quite comfortable. She's lying on the other side of the bush, but the little cubs are wandering around there. I don't know if you can see them, but yeah, we can see them really well. Well, they're hiding somewhere there. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's take you to Steve and see what the interaction between the impala and wild dogs is doing while I sit here.
They're on the hunt, everybody. They're on the hunt. This could go any way. The impalas have just turned around and run Everybody hold on. We are driving after the dogs. They're off on my right-hand side. Gonna give them lots of space. We've just crossed ahead in front of us here. Have they selected one? They seem to have. I can't see what they've picked out, but they can keep this speed for an enormous amount of time. And once they've spotted something, well, off they go. Don't go into the thickets. This is super exciting. They're still coming behind us. Okay. Okay, they're going back to the right now. See, this is what happens, is they'll lose sight of a prey animal, and they'll go up and down, up and down. Look at this on top of the termite mound there, BK. That's so awesome. Get your screenshots, everybody. So the impala spotted them and started alarm calling. And then the one female, I think it was a female, she started stalking them. And as soon as she took off, they all stood up and bolted. So there we saw them miss. Those impala took off at a rate of knots and used the thickets to escape. Because wild dogs are very visual hunters, and if they lose sight of an animal, it becomes difficult for them to train them onto whatever it is they're looking for. And so that is how some of these animals are able to escape. You'd think it impossible to escape predators of such amazing speed and ability. But the impala managed to just take off in every single direction, and whatever impala these dogs were following into these thickets in the bush has saved them for now. This is awesome. Still wafting the smell towards us. Moving between the shade and the termite mound. I think they are definitely hungry, but they're not really putting in as much effort as you'd like them to. They're coming back out again into the open. Very good, guys. So my mistake, I counted earlier. I thought I counted 8, but there are 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I can only count 8 again. You counted 9 as well, hey Beaks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I can only count 8. So sometimes it's tricky. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. I've got 9 now. Okay, where are you going, guys? You're going to go back to the open area? So the dogs will also try and favor open areas due to the fact that they can't get caught out in an open area. But lions and leopards will smash them if they can get them. So they also need to be vigilant of that. And there are lions around. There are definitely leopards around. We know that. Let me move, get in front of them here, give you a nice shot, Beaks. It's a nice airstrip. Whoopsie. Hole in the ground. So I find it quite incredible after the amount of time it took us to get into the sighting, how we are the only ones here now with the dogs doing their thing. That's the way it works. It's the way it works. Now we can count them all. Be able to give you all. BK is going to go through each of the individuals. So those of you back home who are trying to get screenshots of them all to try and identify who they might be, you might be able to get an idea. None of them look to be too young. They all look pretty aged. So definitely not the Investex, who are 8. And they got 4 adults and 4 youngsters. And it's actually quite noticeable to see the difference between the youngsters and the adults. Although they do look the same, they're just a little bit smaller. A little bit smaller in size. A little bit of rest. That was hard work, guys. You ran about 300 meters and now you're tired. Come on. See, the wind is making it difficult for the other animals. Wind makes it very tricky if you are a very tasty meat. And impala are generally the prize source of meat for wild dogs. Nyala as well. Steenbok, if they get seen, are generally in a lot of trouble. But they've got the strategy of standing very still and avoiding detection. Diane, yes, I think wild dogs' eyesight is very, very good. It's far better than ours. Oh, a batalier just landed behind us there. I don't know why. I'm just going to reverse back quickly Cheetah and wild dog have both got incredible eyesight. They rely on eyesight not only for hunting, but for protection against predators. Obviously, all the other senses in dogs, their ears, their eyes, their smell, all very, very well tuned to the wilderness. I'm just trying to see. There's another battle here, but one actually came in and landed on the ground up ahead here. It's possible that the dogs actually caught something earlier. They can tear an animal apart in minutes. And when there's 8 of them, 9 of them, 9 hungry animals, they can very, very quickly dismember an impala. You don't see any of the sort of negativity with other that you see with other predators. Wild dogs are very, very social, and they get very excited when they catch. And there's no fighting over the food. I have no idea who to follow. You just go. When wild dogs start hunting, you just go and you try and keep up with one of them, because eventually they will all come together if they do catch something. But it's very tricky to do. And if they go into the thickets, they don't slow down. They just keep going. And so it becomes quite tough. Quite a few times from Djuma, we've followed the dogs and we followed them south. We've ended up at Chitwa, but it's been an absolute nightmare trying to keep up with them as they go up and down. They don't, as I say, go in a straight line. But now I don't understand why they're not hunting impala that are visible to them. They obviously want to get a little bit closer, or maybe they're just tired. Maybe they're not as hungry as we thought they were. Really can't say. But following dogs off-road is a very tricky thing to do, because they go high speed and, well, off the road. It is bumpy. There are branches, there are trees, there are aardvark holes. And so you have to be very, very careful. But they are not doing anything right now. I'm going to just move a little bit further up here so we can get a nice look at those ones on the airstrip. All taking your screenshots so you can see who they are. So like hyena, they've got very unique sort of patterns to them. And so anyone who's in the know with regards to dogs will be able to sort of identify who they are. Makeup girl, that's a very good question. So yeah, there he has a very dark one over here. Looks like a youngish one. You want to know if wild dogs are dangerous to humans, and they're not actually. I thought this was a bit older, a bit younger, but it's not. They are actually quite docile, and they are almost no threat to humans at all. We've evolved on the African landscape, and as I said earlier, with wild dogs, if they encounter lions, they'll just keep their distance. They do the same with us. They will just keep their distance from us. They know through experience that we are a superior predator to them, just like lions. They won't even attempt to go near a pride of lions that's made a kill. They're not strong enough. They're not physically fit enough to chase lions off, and I think they've evolved the same mental strategy to just give us a very wide berth. They know that we can't really catch them, so they just keep a very wide berth around. But unfortunately, with the invent of rifles and gunpowder, wild dogs on farms that cross into farms where people have livestock have got no chance against a farmer from a distance. So they are persecuted for that. But they serve a very important role in the environment of hunting, of selectively removing certain animals from the population, the weak, the infirm, the young. So they are a natural predator, and we know, looking at other studies around the world, how the removal of certain predators in the ecosystem has serious effects on the diversity and the ecology itself. So we've seen very good examples in Yellowstone of the reintroduction of wolves, how it's completely changed everything there. So the removal of dogs and leopards and cheetah or hyena or lion from a population, the cascading effects of that cannot be overlooked. Many small reserves do not have wild dogs because the wild dogs just require so many animals to sustain them. It actually becomes very, very expensive if you are having to breed animals to feed them to wild dogs. Out here in the Kruger, the animals are breeding naturally. The population's in flux. It's constantly being controlled, and it's growing as the wild dog numbers grow. The prey numbers drop a bit, and it's constantly balancing itself out. Obviously, as the lion numbers increase, or leopards as well, they balance out those of the wild dog. So very, very important sort of combinations out here. Anyway, okay, while we sit here downwind of these very, very smelly dogs, it seems like Taylor has found herself finally an insect.
How awesome is this? We found a pile of poop, and, well, if you know me well enough, I'm most certainly going to stick my hands in it and see what I can find. And I found a dung beetle that is pretending to be dead currently. It is not dead, it is alive, but it has now given us the perfect opportunity to see the mites that you can see. So I'm going to use my little jasmine plant that I've been smelling most of the morning, and I'm going to try and show you. If you look very carefully over there, there are little tiny little mites living on this dung beetle. I think it's an emerald green dung beetle, if I'm not mistaken. We'll have to see when it turns over. I haven't seen dung beetles in ages. I did see some in Sri Lanka. I'll tell you about them in a minute. So it's very important that dung beetles have mites on them. And this was not well known very well until they tried to take dung beetles to Australia. I think it was. I forgot what dung they were trying to get rid of. But anyways, it doesn't matter. And they couldn't work out why the dung beetles kept dying and they kept freezing up. So it turned out that one of the functions of mites on dung beetles was that they would sort of almost live around all the joints, and there was a sticky secretion that was coming out of the joints of the dung beetle, and basically they were becoming stuck together and they couldn't move around. And these little mites that were living on the dung beetle were feeding on that, so it was allowing them to sort of keep moving. I'm sure there's other roles that mites will play with dung beetles too. I think dung beetles help disperse mites, these little mites like this, but they'll be very specific. So you can see that the dung beetle, it's waking up now. Oh, this is cool. It's taken such a long time. Maybe it thinks we're not here anymore, but I'm going to wait for it because it's so pretty. I really wish the sun would shine down on it. So while I was in Sri Lanka, I saw two different species of dung beetle. I saw one type of dung beetle which was awesome because none of the guides had seen it before, and it was a really teeny tiny one, and it's one that I've showed you before. It was a spider dung beetle. Look at this. This is fantastic. So the tiny little ones with the really, really long legs. And then we saw something else that looked very much like an addo flightless dung beetle. It was quite big. It didn't actually look like it had very prominent wings, and I never saw them flying either. However, I'm not actually sure if they get any flightless dung beetles in Sri Lanka. Again, some of this information is very hard to find, as I had fairly limited internet access. But now you can see, is it an emerald green or is it maybe a copper dung beetle? Maybe it's a copper dung beetle. I'm just showing it to you. Come show us your beautiful colors, please. This is for science. Let me turn him slightly. No, he's dead again. He's pretending. He's a very good actor. You should meet my friend the mongoose. But now you can see the beautiful metallic colors on its sort of... What would you call that? Is it... I've forgotten all these technical terms. Goodness gracious, I'll have to go back. But anyways, because that's its carapace over there, so that's where the wings will be, underneath there. And then this head is very, very sort of hard material. Beautiful sort of plum colours and almost like an emerald green sort of sheen. So maybe it's a copper dung beetle. But they get quite big. But again, they've got to start out somewhere, don't they? And I'm sure there's a whole lot more living in this dung. Okay, come, wake up. Do you need some encouragement? Go to your dung. It will eventually crawl back inside again. There we go. Look at that. What a baby. Okay, let's see what else we can find, Sensor. I'm going to open something up. Ooh, what's this? Can you see it, Sensor? I don't want to get too close because I think it's going to fly away. I don't know what that is. It looks like a type of a wasp. Is it a type of a wasp? I have to go down, though, because I can't see properly. No, it's a type of fly. It's like a robber fly, but it's very pretty. Can you see it?
Yeah.
It's got green on its eyes, yellow, and there's another little fly. Do you see that one, Sensor? Just below. Look at that red spot on that other little fly. That's amazing. That's so colourful. That's really cool. Ooh, not a fan. So yeah, I think maybe it's a type of a robber fly. I've just never seen one with such colorations on it. Normally they're pretty bland and boring in colour. How cool is that? And if you look at its proboscis, so its mouth parts, it's very sharp. So typically what will happen when it feeds, it'll probably be able to split that mouth part apart, and then a little suction thingy will come out, a little siphon of some sort, and feed on it. Okay, let me see what else we can find. I'm going to be so dirty. Mama Z is going to be very cross with me with my laundry. Okay, we're ready. We're going to open it and we're going to close it again. What do we got? Oh, here's one. That looks like a chafer, though. Michael, now with regards to those mites, the dung beetles don't have to be very big at all, because those mites are really, really, really small, like really tiny, like smaller than a pinhead. So they don't need to be very big at all. Now, a healthy dung beetle will have a certain amount of mites on them. It's normal. As part of the ecosystem that's on a dung beetle, I suppose, to have mites, but if a dung beetle becomes sick, they could potentially be infested with them. And I saw something very interesting while I was in Zambia. I saw a dragonfly. Sorry, I'm not digging. I saw a dragonfly with lots and lots and lots of mites on it, and it was doing the most fascinating thing. It was flying down. I'll have to show you. So it kept coming into like a little lounge area, and I said I was going to close it. I think we're done playing with the dung now, and yeah, and it would fly down. If this is the dragonfly, I'm going to show you now. And we had a big mat with quite hard bristles coming out of it, you know, because of it rained and stuff like that. You want to get rid of the mud on your feet. And it was flying down and was doing this over the mat. It would come back. And I tried to get a video, but it was difficult to get a video. But I did take pictures of it. Eventually it landed, and it kept going. And it was behaving strange. So I thought, something is wrong with this dragonfly. It's definitely trying to get rid of something on its body. So I thought maybe it had like a parasitic wasp egg on it or something like that. Well, that was not the case. After closer inspection, eventually perched itself high up, and I took a photo and I zoomed all the way in, and it was pretty incredible. This thing was riddled with mites. I don't think it was going to survive something like that. It had a severe infestation, but mites on dragonflies are apparently normal. I then did some research and saw that there's a specific mite that uses dragonflies as their host. Again, it's normal, but unfortunately when that immune system is down or something wrong with them, they can then take over, and then it will eventually result in killing whatever insect they've decided to jump on. I've got to get used to talking so much, and I've got all this elephant poop on my hands now. Right, I'm not sure where I'm sending you to because I've forgotten, and because I was talking too much like I normally do, but wherever it is, I'm sure it will be fun.
Well, welcome back to the Mara, and I have left where the lioness was, and for your information, she's called Butternut, and she's got 3 little butternuts, and I decided to leave that area to let her breathe. Maybe she was in shock that she was found, and now I'm lost in the sea of grass, schlepping along aimlessly, because it's like, oh, look at this, nice, let's share this with you, right here in front of me. Yes, and it's a beautiful gender ju memon lilac breasted roller. Look at that. Yes, we have the beautiful lilac breasted roller right there. Yes, I left the lioness and I'm just driving around along, lost in the grass, because now I don't know where to go. I'm just driving around and just gonna enjoy whatever comes. This is a lilac-breasted roller, the national bird of Botswana. All colors, a lot of colors are to be found in this bird. It can be very noisy sometimes, and I have seen them. They fly quite high, and then they dive down like a bomber jet, and they make lots of noise, like while they are rolling like a fighter jet. And when they're just about to hit the ground, they dive down and then they lift up once again. And I see, they do it a couple of times. I think that's why they're called rollers. And they nest on trees, they pair. And so maybe this guy has got a nest in this tree. He's beautiful, look at him. One of the most photographed birds in Africa. And they're in huge numbers. We do have other different types of rollers that are found in Africa, like the broad-bill roller, the purple roller. All those, and the European roller is a migrant coming here, resting a few months and then going back. So he has moved on, and that gives me permission to move on. Also, aimlessly, like I said, I'm gonna take what comes because nature is amazing, and already it has provided something nice. You know, those cubs were very, very exciting for me. I feel like they've taken all my energy, but I'm gonna try and fight on. It is still beautiful over here. I don't know what's to be found in this long grass. It looks like nobody has been here for yonks. But still, it tells me that there is something. Let's continue on. Because butternut does have some sisters, and I don't know where they are. The last time I saw them, they are on the main road from Kilo 2, heading to Kilo 2 headquarters, and they were very, very hungry. There were 3 lionesses and 1 of the sub-adult males. That's the last time I saw them. So I don't know where they are. They could be anywhere. But definitely that lioness didn't look like she's starving. So they've been taking care of her, the rest of the pride. This is a prime estate for leopard also. As you can tell, it is very wild, a good place to see leopard. So I'm looking in most of the trees, hoping to find that tail dangling down and maybe some legs. If not, I'm sure there will be something. Good area also for rhino. So anything is possible here. So I'm looking for everything apart from the grass, which is quite obvious. It's everywhere. Yeah, look like all the... Yes, you know, while I do that, let's take you to Steve, who's still with his beautiful wild dogs.
Thanks, Isaac. Well, we are still here with our wild dogs, everybody. And you can basically see a very brave group of impala in the background. It's better the predator they can see than the predator they can't. And all of the barn swallows flying along the airstrip, picking up all the insects that no doubt have been moving around in these open areas after the rain we've had. Well, the impala, just watching these dogs. We've got 3 of the dogs on the road are male. I haven't been able to sex the rest of them yet. So I wonder if anyone out there knows who they are. We're going to name them the Smelly Pack. You'll remember that Friends song of Phoebe sings that song, Smelly Cat, Smelly Pack. Kirsty would like me to sing it, but sorry, Kirsty, I don't quite feel it in my voice this morning. Well, here comes another one. This is another male. That's 4 males out of this family. Neither of these 4 seems to be the biggest or seems to be the alpha. So I haven't yet been able to ascertain who the alpha might be. I thought it was a female that initiated the first charge we saw a little while ago. Hello, Gout. So you want to know how they communicate? Well, a lot of the communication is through smell, but then they also do these interesting sort of whooping sounds, which I have no idea how to mimic myself. But it's when they lose each other, they make these high-pitched whooping sounds that are heard for quite some distance, and that's to help them find each other again. But when they do make a kill, or when they do get very excited, they do these very sort of squealing chatter that goes on amongst them. And I don't know exactly why, but it almost reaffirms some bonds. It's not like lions who growl and roar and hiss at each other. the wild dogs get very excited and they make this very high-pitched chattering sound, which I've never seen live. We had the wild dog family, the Investex, not so long ago with an impala fetus that they managed to bring to the youngsters, but we didn't actually see the kill, so we didn't see the excitement that ensues after they managed to catch some food, because obviously it's a team effort, so they get very excited with each other and they all gorge as quickly as they possibly can. They're very powerful jaws and strong teeth for just ripping the meat off of the animal. And Impala in the background there are being very, very brave. We're hoping something's going to happen. Like before, they were sitting very flat like this, and out of nowhere they suddenly took off. And as someone was saying, how do we know who to keep up with? Well, you just go. Figure it out as you get along. There's no real plan, because there's no plan from the dogs either. They go. There's no direction. Who knows what they're going to catch? So you just try and keep up with one of them so that you can get into the scene when they pull something down. Amy, it generally is the case that generally is the alpha that initiates any form of hunt. I honestly can't say I've spent enough time with dogs to say for certain that others don't initiate the hunt, but all the stuff I've read indicates that the males generally is the one who instigates. A female, when they are denning, she stays with her pups, and the male will often go off with the rest of the family to go and search for food, and he is the one who generally initiates it. But I mean, there's nothing to stop any of them from getting up and starting to stalk towards some prey, but I think they all take the lead from him because he's in charge and it's his movement. But interesting, you know, we've had both the Mbali or Investec breakaways here, the Hamiltons here, right in this spot, and this is a group that we don't know who they are. So it just goes to show that the boundaries between wild dog movement is very, very fluid. They don't have the set territories that we talk about with leopards and lions. They just move, and the only thing that really ties them down is when they have a den site. That's what gives them some sort of structure or stability in an area for a period of time. Otherwise, they'll just move in search of favored feeding grounds or where prey is abundant, or maybe even move out of an area where lions are a little bit too sort of prolific. For example, when I was in Singita in the Kruger Park, it was a very high density of lion in that area, and I only ever saw wild dog once. They never really ventured through. It was too risky for them. So, oh, there's that smell, BK. It does. It almost smells like around the corner in the alleyway outside of a nightclub. That sort of smell that flows towards you. Okay, so James Richard seems to think this is the original Investec pack, not the breakaways who we've been seeing with their 4 youngsters. So very good, thanks James. And so that would have happened that we were talking about numbers and family size and what's the average. So the Investec breakaways, which is the other family of 4 with 4 youngsters, so 8, there would have been some sort of number that would have reached. It would have been unsustainable to support their weight, and they just would have gone off. A new alpha male and female would have been formed, and they would have started their own family or their own pack, giving the other female a chance to breed and also giving a male a chance to be the dominant. So that does happen. So which means that if they encountered each other, there probably would be absolutely no animosity between them. But that's hard to say. I've never seen 2 packs of wild dog coming together. I don't know how they defend themselves against each other. I think it would be more of an avoidance than anything. See each other from a distance and just carry on. Males can move between families, between packs. Some males from here might feel that they're not in the right sort of station and they maybe want to go somewhere else. That does happen. They do move between. Females will generally stay. Very, very nice to be able to see them just sitting. I mean, how many times are we with wild dogs and it's just very short-lived as they move very quickly away from us. Okay, well, we're going to get around, maybe move out of the line of the smell of this smelly pack, and let's go back up to Isaac, who's investigating something in a bush.
Welcome back, everybody. And in this bush is totally another new find. Many of you might not have seen it, but it is a bird. It's called a black kukal. Very, very rare. And the last time I saw one was like 3 years ago. I'm gonna try and reverse a little bit. And then, I don't know if you can see it, but it's somewhere there. But let's try and reverse, see if we can find it for you. But it is a very wonderful find. It's an amazing find for me. I hope you're gonna enjoy it. It's a kukal that very few people have seen. And it is right here in this bush somewhere. I hope you know it hides really well. And it is very shy. It's gone under the undergrowth there. I don't know if it's gonna come out for us, but if I may show you in the book, it's over here. Manu, can you see it? It's somewhere there. Yeah, it is somewhere there. I can see it myself. On the monitor. I don't know. Yeah, I can see it. It's somewhere there. Anyway, it's called a black kukal. And I'm not kidding. I'm not lying. It is there. I'm not pulling your leg. Sorry to be showing you the bushes. You all think, Isaac has gone mad. But there is something in there for sure, I promise. This is the bird. Let me show you in the book so you can believe me. Here it is. This guy. He's such a beauty. Look at him. He's a black kukal. We always see the white-browed, which is up here. But this is the one we see the most. This one here, white-browed kukal, very common. We also call it the water bottle bird. But this guy, he's very, very rare. I haven't seen one in about 3 years. And if I may read a little bit of literature so you can understand it, about it, it's they say smallest kukal and black with a bright chest. Non-breeding is heavily streaked with buff and brown on the head, and upper back with barred rufous and black wings and tail, mottled brown and buff below. Immature like a non-breeding adult, but has more extensive barring over crown and forehead. Wow. Yes. Habitat generally uncommon and localized in swamps, rivers and valleys and flooded grasslands, just like where we are. Yeah, so it is the one. And vocals are regular, are rather hollow sounding. Cook, 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 cook. Both notes are identical and rhythmic and subdued, typical descending kukal series. So that is, a bit about this beautiful find. It's called a black kukal, and what I can do now is try and find it. I don't know if it's gonna come out. Now you know what it looks and what it is. Maybe we can I'll say maybe who is gonna outlast one another. Although he's in his estate, and I don't know if it's gonna allow me to see him. But he's hiding in this bush here. Black kukal. Let me see if I can go around again. It will be nice to share it with you, because when you come here, you will show off to your guide and ask him, I want to see a black kukal. I know they're found here. And he might be able, he will be like, oh, you already know the black kukal? And he's gonna be so scared of you. He's gonna think you know all the birds. Yes, he's somewhere here. Come on, kukal. Come out for us. Well, it's very unfortunate that he's very hiding and he's not very interested in us seeing him, but I promise you he's right here. And those are the few, birds that we rarely see, and people want to see, but they don't see them. But they are here and they are found here, and the main reason they are not seen is the kind of behavior he's portraying right now. We know he's here. Okay, while, I wait him out, see who's going to outlast one another, let me send you to Taylor on the bushwalk. I hope he's been lucky more than me.
Welcome back, everyone. We apologize for whatever technical issues we might be experiencing there. But this one individual has now suddenly put its head up. Is that a male? Is it the dominant? It is a male. He's quite a big guy. And he's looking at that herd of impala down. Oh, there's some impala just over his shoulder. BK, just up over his shoulder. Those impala are very close. Look at that. He's just spotted them. He's not going for them, though. Now, all the rest of the dogs are going to respond to this behavior. This is something that dogs do when they're hunting or when they may be chasing off a group of hyena. They will walk towards it with their ears flat and their body. There we go. Off he goes. He suddenly chased those impala over his shoulder, and he's given up already. Already given up. Come on, guys, that wasn't very good. Okay, so now we've got, these are 4 males. You can try and see the ones coming back. The leader, it seems, that's a female. That's a female there, followed closely by what seems to be the alpha male. And there's another male. So at the moment, we've only got 1 female, and the one at the back there I'm going to try identify, and then we'll see how many females are in fact here. There's another male. They're all males. There's only 1 female in this whole group. Quite interesting. And that was a poor show, everybody. Those impala came out of nowhere. They turned and ran, caused the dog to chase, but once again they were swallowed up by the thickets that are the African bush down here around the airstrip. Once we get out of this open clearing, it does get quite dense. There we go, back to resting. Well, it's excitement for a moment. We were getting excited. Well, they're very lazy. I don't think today is going to be my bucket list day, BK. I'm hoping it is. I'm hoping it is, because, well, we'd love to see them hunt. Oh, that one there's got a very injured chest. The one that just came in at the back of the screen there, top left of the screen. See if we can get another look at him. He's got some really weird markings underneath the chest. The one behind that one is hiding in the bushes. No doubt smelling all sorts of deposits, dung and urine. Okay, well, we're going to go back up to Isaac in the Mara. I think he's managed to find another feathered friend.
We have found our kukal, but it's inside this bush now. I don't know if it's gonna come out. You see it? Okay, I don't see it. It flew this way, Manu tells me. So we're gonna leave it, sorry, because it's gone out of my way. It was out and then it flew off. I don't know if you can see it from here, but now it has flown off quite a long ways away. Oh, yes, I see it. It's way up there. You see it, Manu? Over there, in that bush on top. Yeah, there. On top. There it is, there. Yeah, that's a black kukal. There's no track that takes me there. So it's going to be very hard for me to get there. But that is the black kukal. Quite a rare bird. Special one for these areas. And it's quite a distance away. There's no track to get there. some areas we only have to get out of the track for special animals, not all animals. This is a very special bird. They will be maybe coming with a rule to go out for special birds, and then that would be so nice. So there it is, black kukal. We don't have only the white-browed, we do have also the black kukal. It's a special one for the Mara. So if you're a bird watcher, that is maybe might be a lifer for you. We call it in bird watching life. You know, bird watchers, fanatics, we call it a lifer. It could be a lifer. It was a lifer some few years back for me, and I really, really had a good day when I saw it. It's a pity that you can see it really well, but it's got an ivory-colored, big, russet color, wings, and a lot of black. And very secretive, like you can tell. Over there, it's hiding. It was hiding really well. We left, and then it came out. Of course, if I do see another one, it will be great pleasure to share it with you. But these are the kind of things that sometimes we forget exist here, but they are actually found here in the Mara. And that is a black kukal. Black kukal. Good find. Beautiful find. Well, still beautiful being out here in the open. There's nothing else. It's just me and Manu and our Land Rover, Trusted Miller, we call him, in the middle of nowhere. So let me take you back to, let's take you to Taylor, who's got some insects for you. I hope you love bugs.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Sorry, we had a bit of a crisis earlier with our audio. It vanished, but that's okay. So let me quickly tell you what's going on right now. It's absolute chaos here at the Harvester Termite Burrow. I feel like I'm a reporter this morning, right? And so what do we got, Senzo? Senzo, you can obviously, you've wide shot right currently. You can see all the Harvester termites working around. A lot of the smaller ones are all the workers, and then there's a big soldier here. And then you won't believe it, here in the corner, look, it's back on it. Senzo, it's back on. Yeah. The jumping spider actually killed that harvester termite. It was amazing. We watched the whole thing happen, and then 2 ants came in and stole it right underneath the nose of that spider. Spiders don't have noses, but you get what I'm talking about. And now there's 2 ants trying to fight with one another, and they were playing a game of tug of war, and they were pulling this harvester termite apart, but that jumping spider will not give up. It's going to take back what is rightfully his or hers. I don't know if it's a male or female, it's very hard to tell. But this is so cool. They're really, really struggling at the moment. Come on, spider, you can do it. Don't let those ants just take your meal away from you like that. It was really strong. That the ant is definitely much stronger than the spider, because the spider was really struggling to drag that termite around, and perhaps all the commotion lured the ants in, and they seized the opportunity to take what's theirs. I just can't believe that life around the termite mine is still continuing like normal, like nothing is going on. I thought the other termites would have come on in and tried to help that poor worker, but that's not the case. So how that spider would have killed the termite is they've got venom, so it would have bit it and held onto it as tight as it could, constantly injecting venom, which would eventually help liquefy the insides and start the digestive process for the spider, because they can't chew like you and I can. And it only took a couple of, maybe a minute, before that termite was completely dead. Now, that little jumping spider, if it were to try and bite me, its venom wouldn't be able to harm me at all. But to something small like an ant or a termite, it's potent. But I love the way that jumping spiders hunt. It's really, really fascinating. The way that as you can see, I've dismantled myself here as I was videoing that spider. It was really, really cool. So I'm now sitting very comfortably. I wish I had popcorn, perhaps a slush puppy, maybe a bit too early for a slush puppy, but I'd take it. But I really want to see what's going to happen here. I was hoping that this little jumping spider, you're right, Senz. Amazing camera work, of course, by Senzo. I was hoping that this little jumping spider come back and catch another termite, but I think that it's tired and it has defeated itself. Come here, we will raise you to the podium. Jump, spider. This is my favorite thing to do. It's not going away. Come. I won't hurt you. Yes. Jump. No, it doesn't like me. Off it goes. Anyways, that was really fascinating to watch. I cannot believe that the ant won. Look, there's even a smaller species of ant now, whether it's coming to help the bigger ant or it's also just trying to grab a leg and whatever it can take, and off it will go. But that was definitely the highlight of this morning's bushwalk. Well, for Senzo and I, a lot of action. The adrenaline is pumping. That was so fascinating. Any of you ever seen that before? I'll have to share the video that I managed to quickly grab on my phone after drive of the spider actually making the kill. I was videoing the termites because I thought, oh, this is quite cool, make a great macro shot. And then that next minute I was like, whoa, look at that. But there's another ant, Senzo. Look here. Let's see if it's going to come in and take the termite away from that other ant. Greeting one another. Did you always find it funny how the way ants, the antennas touch one another, but they communicate through sort of all sorts of chemical signals that we don't really have any idea about. No more drama unfolding. And it's not really a huge loss to the mound that one worker has passed on. That's not a problem at all because the queen can just lay thousands and thousands of eggs. But it's not really any damage in comparison to if a aardvark or a aardwolf would come through and completely devour a termite mound. Then they'll eat lots and lots of them, hundreds of them, probably even thousands of them. Wonderful. Okay, well, we'll let this scene sort of play out and we'll carry on with our bushwalk. I'm now going to send you to Steve, who I think is still on Chitwa, with the dogs who have decided they don't want breakfast. They're rather going to have a siesta.
Welcome back, everyone. We are still with the beautiful, possibly Investec pack that have done not much since you were last here. Impala have been coming out of the thickets in a few different places, but the wild dogs seemingly not that interested. So just catching up on some reading. I mean, it's quite common for wild dogs to test a couple of herds of antelope before physically attempting a proper sort of all-out pursuit. So maybe when they chased these impala before, they noticed they were all strong, they were all fit, and they realized maybe not worth it. And they will definitely select an individual that's weaker or sort of straying a little bit than the others. And once they do select it, all the members will start focusing on that individual. And they normally can maintain a speed of 57 kilometers an hour, which is incredible. And Jennifer, I'm sure they do use hearing. They've got enormous ears. But to me, it seems like wild dogs use mainly their sight to pick out the prey that they're looking for. But no doubt their hearing is very acute with those enormous ears. But how they use them in hunting is hard to say. It might be more as a means of defense, because they are quite small predators. So they need to be able to detect the oncoming approach of hyena and lion. So that's what one of the purposes of the ears being very big for. But so they can maintain a speed of 57 or so kilometers an hour. That's about 30 odd miles, 34 miles an hour or so, for a very long distance, for 2-3 kilometers. So a mile and a half. Generally, they manage to catch up with their prey between 1.5 miles and 3 miles, and it won't normally go further than, not 3 miles, 3 kilometers. They won't normally go further than 5 kilometers, so about 2.5 miles. They normally abandon a chase by that stage, but generally they'll overtake whatever it is that they're looking for by a mile or two. And they can keep up that speed. As I said, they're not as fast as the gazelle, not as fast as an antelope over short distances, but it's that enormous stamina that they have to just run the animal into the ground, which we're hoping to maybe see this morning. Wouldn't that be nice, BK? Have you spent time with wild dogs yet? This is your second time?
This is my third time.
It's your third time. And you didn't see them hunting, have you? So we're hoping they're going to do something, because we're in the perfect position. We got a really nice open country here. There's lots of impala around, and we've got a very good looking pack of dogs. Anna Marie, I'm not aware of any actual vaccinations happening out here to the wild animals. The distemper, the rabies, all those diseases that are very, very, very sort of crippling to wild dog populations are a big problem. But ideally, we want to keep domestic dogs out of these systems, and we don't want domestic dogs coming in. So there is big efforts around conservation areas. There's lots of vets that come from international universities that come and do all sorts of neutering and whatever spading of dogs, sort of domestic dogs in and around the communities, and they'll often vaccinate all the dogs that they can. They'll come through medical students or vet students and learn how to do all of that through bulk, and they'll often volunteer doing that. So lots of organizations and lots of universities will come out, and so that is where the target really should be, is you've got to look after the dogs that are outside, so that if they do manage to sneak in, they won't transfer those diseases. But last year, or it might have been the year before, there was an outbreak of rabies up in Madikwe, which is up in the north of South Africa, and that completely decimated the wild dog population there, which is a really, really big problem. But I suppose there is potential for veterinary staff to come in if the dogs seem to have some form of disease. They might, seeing as they are an endangered species, they might get involved with some form of inoculations, but I'm not 100% sure if they preempt that or if it's something that'll only do when something is introduced into the population. It's a beautiful male here. He's small though. So, but he looks like he's seen a few years by the shaggy face, but he's probably the darkest wild dog I've ever seen for colors. He's very, very dark, but nowhere near as big as the alpha male. That's because you guys haven't had any breakfast. That's why you're not big. So I was just also catching up on some info there of the dogs, and one of the reasons they reckon why wild dogs smell so much is for them to be able to find each other, track each other through scent if they lose each other in the darkness. And I'm pretty sure if I can smell wild dogs, that they can smell them as well. And so it's a very characteristic sort of dirty, as what Bika says, urine smell. So that sweet and sour, musky smell, characteristic of this family, or this species, should I say. I've never smelt anything quite like it with jackals or bat-eared foxes. Carol, that's a good question. I mean, the smell that the dogs are giving off, I wouldn't say it's a bad smell. I don't say it's a smell that I dislike. It's something to it that really catches in the nose. It's very distinctive. But hyenas are just, they just got a rotten smell to them. They roll in everything. And I mean, dogs also roll in lots of things. But the smell that they give off, dogs, it's a very characteristic smell that I think is actually designed to smell like that. Hyenas smell like death. They don't smell very nice at all. And I must admit, though, spending time at the Djuma Den lately, I haven't really noticed the smell that's been giving off, though. But the dogs have definitely got that very characteristic smell. Hyenas, you've got to get quite close, I suppose, to really smell what they smell like. I'm just going to give an update on the radio. Air stations update. The dogs are still lying up on the airstrip. One station a lock. So that is Brent's brother who's on his way here. He would like to come and see them. I think he's the one who found them earlier. He was one of the guides who works at Chitwa. And we are very close to Chitwa at the moment. We're on Chitwa, in fact. This is the airstrip. Jennifer, hello. That is a good question. Wild dogs don't live as long as most other predators do, but I suppose if you let them live without too much competition, they could probably live to sort of the same sort of age as a domestic dog, so up to sort of 14, 15 years, I would say is possible. But out here, they don't get that old. It's just too many harsh conditions, and I don't think that they probably don't even get past 10. But I'm really no expert when it comes to dogs in their age. There's just so much competition out here that affects dogs, and if they get injured, they will fall behind and they won't manage to stay with the family, with the pack. So I wouldn't say that dogs in the wild get older than 10, but then I do stand to be corrected in that regard. I know some of you have been watching the show for years. You probably know exactly how old dogs get to. But that is what I think. But I'm really not 100% sure. I don't even think there's anything in this book that indicates the longevity. But I will have to find that out for you, because it is a good question. It's an important question to know. I will double check. I do have my lovely animal behavior book here, which is filled with interesting facts, but sometimes it misses just the one question that you're looking for, which is how long do they live for? So maybe anyone out there who can help me out on this very delicate question: how long do wild dogs live for in the wild? Send through your answer to #SafariLive. I'd love to see if my thumb suck out of there is anywhere near being anywhere accurate. But while we wait for your answers, let's go back up to the Masai Mara, where Isaac is still on a search for something with blood.
Ow. 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 Okay. This is the bush where we left the cubs. And we have come back, and there's no signs or any movement or whatever that is happening. It means the female has gotten comfortable, and because the cubs have relaxed, and she's resting now. Every now and then we can see a bush moving, and that's all we can see. It's evident that she's still there. And maybe she's very busy nursing. What she will do is nurse the little guys for a while, and then she'll head out for even 5 hours in search of food, and then eventually come back again to nurse them for a little bit longer. And then after a few days, she'll move them again, just like how she moved them. And they are actually quite mobile. So she actually, she doesn't need to worry about them very much, carrying them with her mouth, like we saw her carrying one. So she will just carry one and take her towards where she thinks is appropriate. And when she thinks that there's one that's really demanding to be taken care of, she'll drop that one she's carrying, then go take another one. And sometimes, usually, it's not very far, so she can get there within maybe 300 meters, maybe 20 minutes. She'll get there. Then she'll stay there for another 1 week or so, then move again. And that is very appropriate because the scent doesn't become too strong. So any animal passing by will smell them. And that will continue for maybe up to 2 months. Surprisingly, I have started noticing that more females are moving with their cubs more. In the years back, I used to see them carrying them in their mouths. But maybe I used to come across them when they were too young, unable to walk. But I have seen them moving quite, following the mom quite a lot. She's definitely there because we saw her going in there. I haven't been close to that bush. It is a bush you don't want to get close to. Otherwise, you'll be... Look, she walked out without us knowing. She's quite a distance away. Look, she's way up there. I don't know where she's going. Do you see her? She's behind that. She's heading towards the tree over there. That's a long way from here. Yeah, there she is. Well, I don't know when she left, but I was still thinking she's here. This is the thing, we sometimes think that we know. Carol, thank you for your beautiful question. You asked me how old is Butternut and is this her first litter? Butternut is an experienced female. She looks to me like she's around 6-7 years. And the reason I, fall to that age is that she's got very 30 ears. And, older lions, experienced lions have got those 30 ears. And also, the young mothers rarely give birth to up to 3. They give birth to 2. Experienced mothers give birth to 3 or 4. So she is definitely older, and this is not her first litter. I would say maybe the second or third. Let's try and see if I can get at least like 30 meters from where she is, but she's quite a long way that way. I don't know when she snuck out. Maybe it's when I was trying to have a drink of water to quench my thirst, because it has gotten hot now. She's quite a long way from where we are. So this is the thing, you have to concentrate sometimes and look out for movements, but I don't know how she slept away from us. She's in the bush somewhere here. So we're going to go around and then stop at a distance, and hopefully we'll be able to see her. She has made herself comfortable in that bush to the right. Yes, we can't see her at all. She's in that bush there. That's where she is. She's gone into that bush. So I think, she's decided to go rest there. Maybe this is the second place where she's gonna move them to. Yes, if you're just joining us, we had a beautiful discovery of 3 little cubs, and we saw them, and the mother has been moving around. She has left them, I think, behind there, and she's in this bush in front of us. She's called Butternut. You see the bush moving on top, so definitely she's in there. And she's got 3 lovely cubs that are about 3 weeks old, and they're in this Mairua edulus tree in front of me, bush or shrub in front of me. Of course, it's a very dangerous situation. I'll never get myself close. I'm about 30 meters, and she's in there. This is a place you don't want to break that safety distance. Okay, I'm gonna stake out this place, and hopefully she's gonna come out. While I do that, let me take you to Steve with his sleeping wild dogs.
Oh. Well, everyone, welcome back. We've just seen a kill. Wild dog just ate a millipede. That is disgusting. I can't believe it. He's eating a millipede. Oh, you thought the wild dog smelt before. Now, oof. Poor little Shongololo. Just tried to run out of the grass there and got caught on the airstrip by this formidable dog. Well, so a few questions have come back. James Richard suggests that wild dogs can live to about 11. Karen has said between 10 and 12. And Brent has said previously on that they don't generally get older than 5 or 6. And so that stems with what I was discussing about the competition that you have out here. There's just way too many things that are risky for wild dogs. Obviously lions, leopards, disease, and also man these days. So I'm glad I was able to surmise most of that with my ponderings before. But now we're wondering if this wild dog over here that's just eaten the very, very distasteful millipede is going to give him some impetus to try and move on some of those impala that are still standing at the end of the airstrip over there. They haven't moved. Poor impala. I wonder if they're at least even ruminating, because they've just been standing there watching these wild dogs for the entire time. So they haven't eaten, haven't seen them ruminating. So it's just a very stressful period for a herbivore animal when you've got predators like this around, because you don't know what they're going to do. Let's have a look at this guy now and see if he's going to get into some psychedelic trip. The chemicals and compounds within a millipede are known to be poisonous and toxic to some animals. Got a bit of an injury on its back there, BK. Do you see that? Oh, it's gone down. Okay, Well, how did you enjoy that, sir? Was that a nice meal? I mean, you've got to be hungry if you're going to eat a millipede. You really do have to be hungry. Definitely not the most ideal source of protein. Definitely easier than catching impala, but well, I've seen documentaries of lemurs in South America taking millipedes and rubbing them on themselves, and the chemicals that they give off actually cause the lemurs to trip, to have a complete psychedelic trip. Bob, you want to know how many females? And I was having a proper look at them all just before, and as far as I'm aware, it only seems like there's 1 female to 8 guys, which is quite interesting. 8 males, 1 female, and none of them look to be very young. Apart from this one in shot, which is quite a small dog, it doesn't seem to be young. But being a wild dog, I suppose, for a few years, it does take its toll on your body and your face, and well, there don't look to be any really youngsters in this family. They all seem to be sort of middle-aged, and maybe there's something wrong with the female. Maybe she's not able to breed. I don't know. I really haven't seen this pack before, but 8 males, 1 female, sort of quite an overly skewed sex ratio there. There's normally twice as many males to females in a family, and here we've got many more. So I must admit, I made a mistake earlier when I commented saying that the females stay in the family and the males leave. It's the opposite, in fact. The males stay together, they're banded together. There's generally more males in a breeding litter than females, normally 59% or so. It's not really a huge difference, but females will quite often move off, breaking away from the family, taking with a couple of males with her. Generally sort of happens if she comes into estrus, and obviously there's going to be some competition between her and the alpha female, so she'll often go off with sort of more lower ranking males who are obviously keen to maybe sire some youngsters for themselves. But there's still lots and lots of work going into the study of wild dogs. Being a predator that covers enormous area, it's very hard to really to spend huge amounts of time with them. So obviously we need to know what causes their numbers to grow and what causes the numbers to decline. Obviously the talks before about disease and other predators are obviously high on the talking point, but a lot of studies have shown that they've taken samples of blood of diseased dogs and not been able to associate what they've taken from that blood test with the demise of the family itself. So definitely disease is there, but it's really hasn't been proven in many a case through blood tests. But obviously there's lots and lots of new information out there, lots of new books being written. But the competition with man cannot be overlooked. Even in the Serengeti, up until the 60s, dogs were shot on sight. I know in the Kruger Park, up until the 40s, any predator was pretty much shot on sight, including crocodiles, because the old game warden sort of mentality was that predators needed to be removed to protect the herbivores. And we were talking about the removal of wild dogs or any other predator from the population, how it can have enormous cascading effects on the ecology of an area. Going back to the topic of the wolves in the Yellowstone National Park, and across the world, if you remove predators, which man has done, it causes enormous changes in the environment, the overabundance of certain herbivore animals, which will no doubt affect the vegetation structure. Okay, well, very, very good news, as Isaac has been working very hard this morning to try and get some cuteness on camera for you. And well, before it disappears, let's go and see how cute indeed.
Well, we have found her, and there she is. You can see her twitching her ear. The bush is moving. There was evidence of the little guys moving in there. Hopefully they will come and say goodbye or hello if you're just joining us. Remember, this is Safari Live, coming live and direct from the beautiful Masai Mara in East Africa. And you can talk to us on hashtag Safari Live. You can YouTube us. You can YouTube and live stream us on YouTube. And this is Butternut, and she's got three little, butternuts with her, almost 3 weeks old. It has been a month of cubs, and babies. We have lots of hyena babies all over, giraffe, calves, buffalo calves, rhino calves. Everybody is having babies, which is beautiful. We do have elephants with young ones, and so it has been a month of wonderful sightings. It is the first time that we are revealing this female to you. Not only that, it is the first time that we have seen her with cubs. The last time I saw her was about 3 weeks. She was really desperate, looking for something to hunt, and we couldn't. Is that a little one? Look at it. There it is. We couldn't tell if she was hungry or not. You can see the little guy there. Beautiful. Look at it. Nice. So I couldn't tell actually, because they were in the long grass, if they were pregnant or not. But today it is clear. She's got lovely 3 young cubs, and there's no better, joy than seeing 3 little ones. So it is, such joy. She's called Butternut. She's a member of the Owino Pride, and the Owino Pride are made up of 3 lionesses and 1 sub-adult female. It's a breakaway from the Sausage Tree Pride, and they broke away from the Sausage Tree Pride because it became too big, and then they had to leave and form their own place, pride. And this is where they came. I must say, the
Frame left.
Frame Estate, a very beautiful, pristine area. It might look empty, but it's full of food. Yes, beautiful. Well, on behalf of everybody, from me, Isaac, my cameraman, Manu, it's a goodbye from the beautiful Masai Mara. Bye-bye.